y'all doing? This is Kenny from the Walking Dead game. Well, actually, it's Gavin Hammond. I played him in the game, but it's not important. The important thing is you're listening to The Gaming Outsider.
Hey there, Go listeners. On this week's episode, Zack and Alyssa are joining me to share gaming announcements from over the years that got us most excited for their release, whether recently from our childhoods or even currently. In news, Atari is making a pretty big acquisition as early as next month, and you'll also hear our impressions of Resident Evil 4. And Ralph stops by to tell us about a gorgeous-looking gear-gated game called 9 Years of Shadows, and also I got my hands on a PS5 game called Tchia. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It is Sunday, March 26th. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, a guy who's been podcast cheating on me, Mr. Zack Parkerson. What's up, man?
Whoa, I wasn't expecting this to be called on the carpet like this.
I know, man. What you got some splaining to do.
Lucy? Yeah. Yeah. Well,
no, this is a good thing. I'm totally being funny.
That'll be on an upcoming episode of Quest Markers.
Yes.
Yeah. Can't wait talking about Shocker, Near. So,
yeah.
Look out for that, I guess.
Yeah, in another week or two, I think you said.
Something like that. Yeah, I'm sure I'll remind you all when it's out and about.
Very, very sure. Alyssa, how are you doing?
I'm existing.
You're existing.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
I am on my last day of spring break. I go back to work tomorrow after a week off, and you know that Zack, you've been there. You were there the week before, right? You had a week off, vacation, and then
the first day back is just brutal.
Yeah,
it's like walking into the fires of hell.
Yes, but let's do a thing. I don't want to kick things off too negative because I had a great week. We got a lot of games to talk about. This is a jam-packed episode. We have so much cool things to talk about. Lots of good games to play, lots of news happening. We've got our our April giveaway is up and running. So if you would like to have a chance to win Star Wars Jedi Survivor, there is a link in the show notes. We're giving away either a physical copy on Xbox or PS5 of that game. All you got to do is listen to the episode. We do ask you one simple question to kind of prove that you do listen to the episode from time to time. And some people have submitted wrong answers.
Oh no!
Like just unabashedly, like, Scott's probably not gonna. He's probably gonna still let me enter. Oh no!
Good. Mr. Clark is in class.
Yeah, I mean there are some people that I know are community members and are just a couple episodes behind. But the question this week was something that if you've listened to any episode in the past 10 weeks or so, I feel like is going to be.
You know it.
You would know it.
I don't even know what the question is.
Well, it has to do with what we refer to a specific genre of games as opposed to what it is commonly known as. So
that should be easy.
It should be easy.
Yeah.
I figure we talk about that like every episode, but we'll talk about it this episode or next week's episode for sure. But that, and also please be sure to mark your calendars. Guys, October 14th of this year is the official date for R2V2. I can't tell you who we've got coming as guests yet. But we've got a date set in stone. We've got a venue. We just have to do some planning, and I'm looking very forward to it. Hopefully, you guys are going to be able to make it. Yeah? Huh? Eh?
That's the plan.
I'm trying my best.
Try not do. There is no try.
Okay, Yoda.
Well, we got so much to talk about. Let's jump right into the games that we've been catching up on. Alyssa, how is Hotel Renovator coming?
I am still enjoying it, but those side missions you have to do, they're happening more now, and it's really getting on my nerves.
Are they different kinds, or are they the same ones?
They're pretty much the same ones, just in different orders. Like, I'll go to the room I need to be, renovating. Right now I'm at the penthouse, and as soon as I step in the door, it's like, this person wants hay bales in the lobby for their horse. I'm like, why are we letting horses in this hotel? And then I'll do it. And I'll go back to the penthouse, step in the room, and immediately it's like, there's a pipe broken in this room on the first floor. I'm like, no, I just want to decorate the penthouse.
So it sounds like you were just doing chores and doing maintenance as opposed to doing what you want.
It's fun when I'm allowed to decorate. When I'm not allowed to decorate, I'm like, why?
You just want a
Gotcha.
decorating simulator for the hotel?
Pretty much, yeah. I just want to be
Yeah.
able to decorate the rooms.
That's respectable.
Yeah.
And I'm still dice battling that chicken.
I forgot about that. You played
Yeah.
dice. You played like Yahtzee or something against chickens.
It just brings you 2 dice, and you click on it, and I don't even know how this game works, because one die is green, one is the typical white and black die,
Uh-huh.
and then the game just says you win, the chicken wins, or it's a draw, and you have 5 rounds, and then whoever wins, the chicken leaves either way, but if you win, you get money.
Oh, I mean, I like money. Money's cool.
I think, Alyssa, you need to. I mean, I know you got to review this game, but
Mhm.
when you're done, just do yourself a favor and go pick up Power Wash Simulator.
Oh, I've got it on my Xbox.
Do you?
Yeah.
Like, have you played it yet?
I've played some of it. I'm not the biggest fan.
Really? Oh man, I found that so satisfying and soothing and relaxing.
I'm
But-
just waiting for House Flipper 2 to come out this year.
Oh, is that actually happening?
Yes, it's happening.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Hotel Renovator's not letting you play the game the way you want to, but hopefully,
Yeah, I know.
hopefully that changes. What else you been playing?
I'm dipping back into Fire Emblem Engage just every now and again, because it's one of those games you can play for an hour and then you're good. Still fun. I'm about halfway through the game, chapter 15 out of 26. Yeah, over halfway,
okay.
actually. Story's really interesting, but of course you're doing the turn-based battles still. But yeah, I mean, you play it for the story, and it's fantastic. It's going to take me a long time to finish it, but I'm really enjoying it. So, just
Alright.
dipping in and out of that when I feel the need or the want to play it.
Sounds good. Zach, how about you?
Well, I played more Justice League Cosmic Chaos.
I saw your tweet about that.
Hit a game-breaking bug.
Yeah.
Terrible news. Yeah, I was supposed to open these 8 pieces of mail for a character. I have all 8 open, but it refuses to acknowledge this, and it's a single save file. Chapter select. There is no chapter select. I'm in a part of the game where I can't exit back out in the open world and like retry. So, yeah, just totally boned out of finishing that game.
That's a bummer, man.
That's
And you
cool.
were digging it too, weren't you? Kinda?
Yeah, it was a fun little game. Fun little dungeon crawler for the youngins. Yeah, but now obviously I hate it.
Aw.
And fire.
Aw.
I must have been so close to the end too, because PS5 has like this new update where they estimate how far you are through a game.
Oh,
And it-
really?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah, I
didn't
think I'm
realize that.
Yeah, I'm like 40-something% through Resident Evil 4 according to it. But according to this thing, I'm 100% of the way through Justice League. So I must have been like right before the final boss.
Yep.
That's
That
infuriating.
sucks.
Which it already
That's too
seemed
bad.
like it, but yeah, that's devastating.
Yeah. And you
But-
can't get the platinum that way then.
I know,
Right.
and it would have been such an easy platinum. And I'm not
Right.
I can't see myself restarting this entire game.
Right.
Especially not with, I know the trophies are bugged as well, because I had a few that didn't pop.
Right.
It's great. I also
Maybe
had
they'll pop later. Who knows?
maybe just one day while I'm just playing some other game.
Yeah.
There was a cool part of the game
surprise.
for about an hour where Superman's heat vision just didn't make contact with enemies. It would shoot, but it wouldn't do any damage or anything.
Mm,
So yeah, I would say this game's a little rough around the edges, especially the more you play it.
gotcha.
But what's not rough around the edges is this game called Resident Evil 4. Came out in 2005.
Oh, the original.
Absolute banger of a game. Original. Are they gonna remake it? I think it's prime for a remake, guys.
Yeah, we are going to be talking about that one a little bit later, man.
Yeah.
The Resident Evil 4 holds way the hell up to the point. I decided I want to replay Through the Village opening, right, just to compare it to the
Yeah.
remake. And instead, I played like 2 or 3 hours of the game because it's
Oh,
just
wow.
so good.
How far did you get? into it?
I got, what is it? To the part where you get chained up with Luis or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like 2 hours or whatever. And I was just exploring, having fun because the mechanics are so exciting. Yeah, it really was like, hey, you didn't really need to remake this. Like, it's just so good as
I
it is.
disagree.
I know you do, but I'm telling you, this game holds up. If anyone's curious, you probably get this version for $10. It's
Probably. I don't know. Now with the remake out, people are probably like, collectors are like, mine.
I wouldn't be Capcom just delisted from the store. Yeah,
Right.
force you to buy the remake. It's just like Rockstar did with the Grand Theft Auto remakes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I went back and played the remaster that was available on Xbox, and I remember thinking, I thought the game controlled so much better back in 2005. I feel like you still have to stand in place
Right, you can't move and shoot. Yeah,
Right.
right. But the game's designed around that, so it's not that much of a hindrance.
Right. I just it had been so long since I'd played it, and the standard for third-person shooters had changed so much since then that I felt like I had to relearn the controls when I went back to do it. So I never went back and I didn't even get past the village section just because I was so frustrated by the controls.
Which is somewhat funny because without this game, you wouldn't have any of those third-person shooters.
You're right.
That's true.
You're right.
Yeah.
This was the one that gave us things like Gears of War, right?
Right.
We wouldn't have Gears of War.
It gave us over-the-shoulder aiming.
Yep.
Who would have thought?
Novel concept.
It turns out.
Yeah.
The game's great, and it has some tone differences between this and the remake that we'll talk about later. But
Okay.
I think the original holds right up, guys.
Fair enough. What else you been playing?
Well, with you, my guy.
Yeah, we played a game together.
Finally,
well,
kind of. We played at Dragon's Crown Pro, obviously a co-op hit. You know,
obviously
every inch of the box art and description and the store and the trailers, everything's like, I bet you can't wait to play co-op with your buddies. And they're right. I couldn't wait. And I never got to because you have to play, 3 or 4 hours to unlock the co-op. And
so I gotta tell Alyssa this story because in order for us to be able to play together because of Zack's schedule, I had to get up at like 3:30 in the morning so that I could be on, get a cup of coffee.
You normally get up at like 4:30, right? For work?
Yeah. So it wasn't like, but I was on spring break.
No, I understand. I just I'm not a total a-hole. Okay.
I wasn't insinuating that you were. But yeah, so I got up early with this excitement to be able to finally play a game with Zack because we never get a chance to play. And I sit down and I'm on my PS5 with this game loaded up. And I think I texted you guys the night before and said, hey, just so you know, you're going to have to play like the prologue or something.
Yeah.
And you might want to do that before. And Zack is like, oh no, we'll just do it.
Yeah, we'll
run
talk
through it.
Like the old Xbox party chat days.
Yeah.
And I want you to know, I was excited for as well. I drink a coffee like at 2 in the morning or whatever, so I would make sure I was alert and ready to play this game with Scott. For nothing.
And then we started playing it and just kind of comparing notes as we're going through this game, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. And then 4 hours later, Zack actually beat me to the punch. He said, "Hey, I just unlocked the ability to meet online with somebody," and I'm like, "I'm not there yet." So literally 4 hours later, I finally unlocked it after you had gone to bed.
Well,
so we never actually got to play this together at all,
which is insane.
But it is insane.
And the game itself is fun, right? It's like a beat 'em up kind of thing with these light RPG mechanics. But I can't comprehend why they felt the need to tutorialize you for 3 hours before you can hang out with a friend.
Especially because I looked into it, or after you finally unlock that and you figure out what the main quest is. The main quest is to basically run through those 8 levels that we just ran through
again
a second time. Like that's all you're doing. So we basically played through the entire game,
right? Only
to be told that we got to play through the game a second time in order to actually beat it.
But now you can have a friend.
Now you can have a friend.
And also, it's not like it's afraid of screen real estate or something, because you can summon these undead characters basically to help you, and they take up player slots. So it's just AI companions. They're all over the screen causing mayhem. There's just no reason I could figure out at all. The only thing I can even somewhat rationalize is to try to introduce you to the systems, but they're not that deep.
They're not that deep. Like, there's a lot going on for a beat 'em up. Like there's a lot of like going back to town and trading and selling and buying and upgrading.
Everything you do in town is just like click the button to like I gotta make sure my buff is active and I gotta repair my stuff, and then you go back. Like that does not require 4 hours.
No, I agree.
And I can read those tutorial prompts with a friend next to me.
Yeah, like seriously, it is very bizarre. Like,
it's weird.
Do you still want to do it? Do you still want to play out, like go through the game online together?
Yeah. If we ever find the time, I would love to play more. I mean, it wasn't like great or anything. You know, it was a fun little brawler.
Yeah, it's one of those games where you're, it's a good game to chat with your buddy with while you're playing. Yeah. Much like the next game we're going to talk about, but we'll get there.
Yeah, it reminded me of it's like Castle Crashers, but better.
I didn't like Castle Crashers.
I know. That's why I had to take a quick shot at Castle Crashers.
I just everybody worshipped that game, and I never liked it.
I never
played it.
You didn't miss anything. It was fine. There are 1,000 better beat 'em ups.
Yeah.
There's no need for that game to get the hype that it got at the time.
Is that just because of that was like one of the first online ones that was available?
Maybe. I don't know.
Because that would have came out around the time when Xbox Live was really kind of hitting its stride.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the earlier games on there.
It was the first Xbox Live Arcade game I remember that was $15
for that game.
Right. Oh well, but I suppose we should talk about the other thing I decided to play, which I feel like should come as somewhat of a shock to you, Scott.
I was surprised to see this added because I played it as well, and I did not think you were going to be playing this.
I jumped into the beta for Diablo 4, despite not liking Diablo 3 very much at all.
I'm fascinated.
Which I know isn't the same thing for you, but how much did you love Diablo 2?
I've never played it.
See, that was my jam. Anyway, so I booted it up. I went with the Necromancer. First of all, I love the art style in Diablo 4. Oh my god, everything just looks so cool.
Opening cinematic.
Yeah, well, Blizzard Cinematics, right?
But I mean, I feel like this one has gone even darker and gruesome. Yeah, I haven't played 1 or 2.
No, I feel like they really are leaning into like the dark, grim nature a lot, which is cool.
There's a scene at the beginning when the main villain of the game is revealed that it's got this Silence of the Lambs feeling to it.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
It's pretty cool. It's really good. Right. Just go download it and watch that really quick if you're not going to play the game. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe the PC queues are worse because I felt like I kept hearing about how long the queues were, but I got right in.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't start until today, so
yeah.
I was gonna play it, but then mental health said no.
Understood. Well, I got into playing it, and I'll be damned if I wasn't having fun.
Dude, this is gonna be a problem. I can tell you already.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't like into it the addictive sort of way, but yeah, when I'm raising up skeletons to fight alongside me, I'm throwing skeleton daggers or whatever. I was having fun, man. I like the upgrade system, actually, which is rare for me to say, like a skill tree sort of thing.
That is a complex skill tree,
but it's like it's not that complex. I like that it's, at least in the Necromancer, it's a linear path. You just have to unlock a certain amount of skills in each branch before it unlocks the next branch or whatever.
Right. Same with the rogue.
I think that's kind of a fun way to do it.
Yeah. I just it's okay. Complex is not the word I meant to say. It is a long branching skill tree.
Right. They want you to play this character for 100 hours, no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. For real. Here's the thing that I loved in terms of a quality of life addition to the game. I don't think you were able to do this in 3, but now when you pick up stuff, you can mark it as junk, like on the spot. Like you can have it. You can just, and it actually like turns the armor or weapon or whatever it is into just like a slash symbol or whatever, so you know it's junk. So when you have something new,
nothing says great game like being able to sort your junk.
Yeah. It's also difficult if you're playing with people. You don't want to like stop at every piece of item you get to look at it. You know what I mean? But
right, was actually have courtesy with your friends. Only change your gear in town.
Right. Unless you have to like unload or something. Like, I got to drop some stuff. I got too much. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not gonna like go through and sort it, but let me drop this. But I was playing actually online with Joel, my Gears of War / Borderlands buddy. And he's already pre-ordered this game, but
that's good. Activision needs the money ahead of time. That's nice of them.
Yeah, right. But it's so much fun, man. It's just so, and he gave me a bunch of gear because he's actually like at level 17 or something, and by the time I finished playing, I was only at like level 8 or just under, right before a flipping 8. I think you can max 20 on the beta.
I was saying, your character doesn't carry over, does it?
No, but if you make it to level 20, they give you some unique stuff that you'll have when the game releases.
FOMO like, Clark struck, huh?
Nah, I don't know. No, I don't know. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm saying I was considering it.
Okay.
Today's the last day, or maybe tomorrow. Like you can still do it, but I obviously got to work, so that's not going to happen. But yeah, this is going to be a problem for me, guys. This is
I think
felt like getting on a bike.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And I think I asked you this last week. Is it cross-play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah,
So we could play together too.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah, I'm playing to play it as well. So,
dude,
I feel like we're gonna have
all play a game together. Wouldn't that be weird?
Oh, I know. I feel like we're gonna have a Diablo Discord channel dedicated just to setting up games, because this is gonna be okay. It's Friday. Who am I playing with? I'm on. Come join me. I can't wait. Just the addictive nature of even just the beta was great. I was trying to rush through, so I was kind of skipping some of the story stuff, which I won't do in the.
I skipped it all.
Did you? I probably won't do that in the game, but
well, for me, I was like, yeah, I want to play it. If I like the beta, I'm going to want to play the game. So yeah, let's leave all this stuff to be fresh.
yeah.
That's exactly what I thought too. I'm not playing this now for the story. I'm playing this to see if. I mean, I'm already sold. I was already sold. I was already going to buy this game, right? But I can't wait, man.
I want to give a big shout out to asking up front, at least on PlayStation. It asks your colorblind settings and how big you want the font.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I gotta say, that's so awesome. I'm tired of every console game having tiny text. And leave it to a game that is mostly PC to actually remember that people are reading this on a TV screen on a couch.
Yeah. So how does it work with colorblind mode? Does it do like a symbol for like rarities?
It's just different. It's different colors.
But right. But I understand how it works for a not colorblind person. How does it work for you?
No, I'm saying they use a different palette of colors.
Oh, I see. Okay. I thought you were telling me.
No,
you're totally mansplaining it to me right now.
No, it unfortunately makes
Alyssa, mansplaining is when somebody has to explain to a woman how something is actually done.
A feeble-minded female.
Okay. I totally didn't know that.
Just to be clear, we are being 100% sarcastic right now.
Yes, we're being sarcastic.
Well, 100% sarcastic. Please.
It'll be clipped out of context regardless.
Yeah, right?
No, but it's just kind of like, it's kind of annoying because the colors can be kind of garishly different. Mm-hmm. It'll be like this bright purple or something, but it's the only way to make it work quickly. Otherwise, I'm going to have to squint and read what the rarity is, and that's not fun.
So can you see all 4 or 5 of the colors in the selection and choose one that works for you that you can tell the difference? Yeah,
they actually give you the palette of the rarities when you check your colorblind options, which is nice. Yeah,
very cool. Yeah, that I am. I'm a little nervous. Here's the cool thing though: is that game comes out while I'm on summer break, so July is shot for me.
What's the release date again?
I think it's the 26th. No. Because there did 6. Is it 6/6? Because 6/6/23.
Is it June?
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think they did 6/6 because of the.
That's a little close to Final Fantasy 16 for me.
Oh yeah.
Well, sorry, Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, sorry, Diablo. It's not gonna
happen. But my problem is that's when I go on my cruise. So I'm gonna be gone that whole first week. I'm gonna come back and everybody's gonna be 49 levels ahead of me. But
I won't be. But...
Yeah, listen, I won't be because we'll be distracted by Final Fantasy.
There you go. So when I get back, the 3 of us can. Yeah. Well, the cool thing with that is you can always just do another character too. I feel like everybody has a.
Why the hell would I want to play anything other than a necromancer? You get to raise the dead. I had a scythe in one hand and a skull in the other.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Dude, it's not going to get any cooler than that.
Yeah.
There's no way. And I get to raise my little skeleton buddies. Oh,
I got a bow and arrow.
That's lame. Lame.
I want to raise skeleton buddies.
Hell yeah. And I had this ability where it sends out basically just like a Grim Reaper phantom to go scythe a group of enemies. Dude, come on. Why would you play anything else?
Because I like my rogues, man.
Do you have animal companions as a rogue?
No, I don't want to. That's the
druid usually, right?
Druid, yeah, the druid is.
I always like that one too. I like some of them little dudes to do my bidding. I'm gonna hang back. I'm gonna take all the credit for your kills. It's gonna be great.
So yeah, that's gonna be. It sounds like we might all be playing that one. I've been talking to a bunch of people. It's gonna be a Friday night. All right, who am I playing with tonight?
Right.
You know what I mean? I feel like I hope this is a community thing where on whatever night or on Friday night, whatever night everybody picks, we're all like, okay, who's playing tonight? Who's matching up with what? I got to level this. Let's all get in this room together. I mean, it doesn't matter really, right? But still.
Do you think it's better or worse for Microsoft trying to acquire Blizzard Do they think do they secretly hope this game fails so it looks good to the FTC?
Well, because I mean that's not going to happen till June at the earliest anyway. So like this game will be out.
No, I know that's what I'm
before
saying.
Then
They're going to say, look, they have a monopoly on top-down action RPGs too. I could already see Jim Ryan's headlines.
I see what you're saying now. Okay.
Yeah.
It could happen. We'll talk more about that later too. But hey, that's what we've been catching up on. Let's go ahead and jump into the week's news. All right, we got some new trailers to first talk about. There's a game called Pixel Ripped 1978 coming to MetaQuest 2, PSVR 2, PS5, and PC this summer. It looks really cool, actually, if you're an Atari fan. Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, got a new trailer. It's more or less a demo of the Unreal Engine. It looks incredible. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We got a new trailer for a game called Lego 2K Drive, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a racing game based on Lego. I feel like we had one of those about 4 years ago, didn't we? Wasn't there a Lego, or it was DLC for Forza, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a full-blown game.
I remember Lego City Undercover. That was cool.
Right. Don't you remember we were at E3 and there was like a car like made out of Legos? I think we sat in it, remember?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
No.
And then this one's not a game, but there's a new app available called Crit Rate. That is a game recommendation app you can get right now. I'm not sure how I feel about that because I feel like I have you guys.
We already have way too much to play. I don't need to be recommended new stuff.
That's what I'm thinking too. So, but actually, in real news, Atari is acquiring Night Dive Studios. Lord of the Rings Gollum has another new release date, and a game based on TMNT: The Last Ronin is in development. And lastly, Microsoft gets a win in the UK regarding the Activision acquisition. Alyssa, which story would you like to talk about?
Let's just talk about Microsoft getting a win in the UK.
Okay. So the UK Competition and Markets Authority, or the CMA, recently took issue with the pending purchase that we were just alluding to a second ago. They originally said that they thought this would hurt the competition, but they said on Friday, and I quote, "It received a significant amount of new evidence. Having considered the additional evidence provided, we have now provisionally concluded that the merger will not result in a substantial lessening of competition in console gaming services because the cost to Microsoft of withholding Call of Duty from PlayStation would outweigh any gains from taking such action." Now, there's still going to be some conversations about what that's going to do in the cloud gaming market, but this is still a pretty large step towards completing that purchase by June, which was Microsoft's plan. Alyssa, what are you thinking about this story? How do you feel?
I mean, I guess I'm neutral to it. In a way, I hope they do get it because then we'd have, Activision Blizzard games on Xbox, probably on Game Pass day one, some titles at least. But I mean, I'm not I don't have a huge, what's the word?
Dog in the fight?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
Stake.
But it is interesting that they've come to this conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
But also they're worried about it harming competition in cloud gaming.
Because the fight is whether or not Call of Duty is going to be available on different platforms, right?
Yeah.
Because that was all part of the fight last week, I think, was that Sony was claiming that Microsoft was going to offer an inferior version of Call of Duty on PlayStation than what is available on Xbox, which to me is just a ludicrous thing to suggest. If they own the property, they want that game to sell well wherever it is. It would not make good business sense for someone to release a crappy version of your game that is owned by you.
Well, and also, if the idea is in their heads, it sounds like maybe you're doing it for your MLB game on Xbox.
Right?
True.
It's just, I don't know. So there's something to do with cloud gaming. I don't understand the finer points of that. I'm assuming, games that are available to stream or something like that, but where they're available. But at the end of the day, I feel like everybody has just felt pretty confident that this thing was going to happen, regardless of how much Sony fought it, right?
I mean, yeah, it feels pretty much like a done deal.
It's just a bunch of red tape at this point. Just crossing the T's, dotting the I's. Do you agree, Zach?
Yeah, probably. I don't really care about the story anymore.
I know. I'm
Like,
kind of the same way.
It's just, I mean, I know it's big news. It's just, yes, I think a corporate merger is likely to happen.
Mhm.
There have been bigger ones. I do not understand why this one is having so many hiccups. And I do really wish it was over. I guess if nothing else, maybe it proves that Jim Ryan is a good CEO because I feel like he's done a lot of damage towards this deal. So I mean, he's been fighting for PlayStation's interest, right? It's in their best interest. This doesn't happen.
You're right, but I don't know.
I hate. Yeah,
As a person that subscribes to Game Pass, I want it to happen. So
Yeah.
I want as few mergers as possible.
Right. I get that too. But anyway, Zach, which story do you want to talk about?
I actually want to talk about Atari acquiring at Night Dive Studios.
Wow, I'm surprised. Okay.
I thought you were going to go with a different story.
Me too.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, Night Dive has just been essential in games preservation, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true.
And they deserve a lot of respect for that. Them getting bought out worries the hell out of me.
I didn't even think about that.
Because if Atari's interest shifts at all, as does Night Dive's. And Night Dive has been getting these like they did did they do the Blade Runner remaster, and they're doing the System Shock stuff. Like they're just important. They're doing important stuff in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know not enough. Certainly, game publishers don't care about games preservation, so it's mostly just Night Dive that seems to care. And so them getting bought out by Atari. I mean, I'm happy they got $10 million or whatever. Good for them. But it's just it does worry me. But Atari, in its current position, it does seem to be very retro focused, and they seem to respect their past quite a bit. So
not only did they do like that past collection, but they've actually been kind of remastering some of their classic games and making them, breathing new life into them with like new iterations of the same game.
That's true.
Right. So as of right now, this seems like a good partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure some people at Night Dive just got real rich real fast. But I just hope that continues to be the case, because you can easily see a future where Atari shifts priorities, or if they ever get into financial trouble, they could shut down Night Dive, and that would be terrible.
Right.
So just
one time, I would like to see when something like this happens, whoever's in charge of the studio being purchased says part of the agreement is that you incentivize and spread out this bonus to all the employees.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It would be.
Like just all of a sudden, everybody that's been working for that company is a little bit richer. I'm not saying like maybe not to the point where they're going to quit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like a couple 100,000. You know what I mean? Just kind of. Buy them a house or something.
Sega gave all their employees a 30% raise. Nobody quit.
Yeah, I mean that's a 30. 30% is a hefty raise.
That's a pretty significant raise, man, coming out of nowhere. Instead of, the CEO didn't just pocket all that money; he decided to distribute the wealth.
Right.
Pretty cool.
I would like to see that happen more often, but
agreed.
Let's see. I'm excited about that too. I understand your trepidation about the possibilities of what could happen, but
right,
if they were going to get purchased by anybody, I feel like that's the right call.
In the short term, I'm excited because this gives them more capital to acquire more old games.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they don't just do remakes; they do remasters as well too. Right.
Yeah. That's the stuff I really care about. Yeah.
Right.
The remasters.
We always complain about, or I feel like 2 years ago we were complaining about the remasters, and here we are, Dead Space and Resident Evil 4. Back to back,
right?
Both vying for contention for our games of the year at this point.
For sure,
ridiculous. Yeah, but the stuff that they remaster over at Night Dive is so small usually.
Right, that's
that no one else cares about those games.
So I'm going to talk about a story, and I am shocked because I usually let myself go last. I let you guys take pick of the stories first, and I can't believe that neither one of you wanted to talk about this. The Last Ronin.
I was going to talk about it, but I was saving it for Zack because I thought that he would want to talk about it.
Guys, I don't really care about the Ninja Turtles, to be honest.
Really?
Okay.
I mean,
I like them.
Get it. I get it. I understand it from the Shredder's Revenge was fun, but it's also disposable. Like I played through it a couple times and I'm good. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I have never heard of The Last Ronin thing before.
I've heard of it, and it always interested me, but I never read it.
I've never read it. And I'm kind of fascinated by the story. because for those that aren't familiar with it, apparently it's a 5 series, or what do you call it in graphic novels?
It's a 5-issue miniseries.
Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah,
5-issue miniseries,
right?
And it takes place where 3 of the turtles have died. We don't know which ones. One is remaining. I bet you do, but I kind of don't want to know. It'll be a fun reveal in the game.
No,
right?
it was a fun reveal in the comic. So I guess I'm the only one who read the comic. So maybe I do care about the Ninja Turtles. Who knew?
Yeah,
but it's a very good comic.
And so this last remaining turtle is kind of on a mission of revenge, but he's using all 4 of the weapons,
Right.
between him and his brothers, which makes for an awesome video game. They're comparing it to, it's going to be a single player action role-playing title in the vein of the Norse-themed God of War series, which that's a pretty bold thing to say.
It is.
I mean, I know we have mixed feelings about the God of War series, but that's a pretty hefty name to attach to a Ninja Turtles game.
Right.
But I didn't realize this thing was also relatively new. It's only 2020.
Yeah, they're doing like a prequel series right now, where I think you get to watch all the turtles die in graphic detail.
Oh, that sounds...
Well, it does say this game will be very mature in tone.
Yeah, and the comics kind of always have been, and especially since IDW started publishing them, they've gotten more mature. So, yeah, that's right in line with what you want to hear. And yeah, you're right. Even though the God of War, I guess, has a mixed reception around here, it immediately conjures in mind the kind of game you can imagine, which is cool.
Right.
Which
was the intent. That's why they did it.
Right. And
I mean, you mentioned this story, and I'm like, okay, that seems like a cool game, but then you compare it to something to that level, and when I hear God of War, I just think high fidelity, I think gorgeous environments, I think, you know what I mean, intense, deeper story. And the idea of that coming to a Ninja Turtles game is intriguing. I think that intrigues me the most about the last Ronin story. So,
yeah, I think it's got a lot of potential. There's no question. I
agree. I feel like we should mention just very quickly this Lord of the Rings Gollum game.
Dude,
now has a new.
It's getting sad at this point, though.
It is.
It is. So let me give you the timeline, guys. The game was announced back in 2019. It was set to release in 2021. In May of 2022, the game still wasn't out, and they set a new release date for September 22 later that year. And then July this year, it was announced that the game was delayed again, but they didn't give a release date. And now this past week, the new release date of May 25th is the official date for this game. And I have a feeling that this game is going to disappoint a lot of people.
Oh, it can't disappoint because nobody cares about it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I feel like when this thing was like a concept, I was like, oh, that sounds like a really cool idea. And then it's just not being marketed. I feel like we've hardly seen any gameplay. Anybody that has actually got their hands on it behind closed doors has not had positive things to say about it.
The gameplay I saw kind of looked cool. It kind of looked like Uncharted or Prince of Persia style platforming and stealth combined into a game, and that sounds cool. But I don't want to play as Gollum for 12 hours.
Right.
So that might be my hang up. Obviously, he's just.
Would you beat Gollum the entire time, or would you switch between Gollum and Smeagol, I wonder?
Well, there's still going to be that weird gremlin-looking dude either way.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I would be more interested in starting the game as
Smeagol, the Hobbit.
Like the regular Hobbit Smeagol.
You're right. And that would actually be cool. And then like halfway through the game, he starts getting more corrupted or something. That'd be kind of
That would be awesome.
Wow, we just made a better game right here, guys.
It's not the first time.
No, but I don't know who the hell this is for. I don't even think Lord of the Rings diehards really care about this.
Well, I think when they first announced it, it was probably for,
right.
Lord of the Rings diehard fans. But since it's been so long now, it's kind of anticipation just petered out.
And plus, this is the year of the games finally coming out that were supposed to come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's so much happening that this one's just going to get swept under the rug and forgotten, I feel like. So,
boy, let's see if Suicide Squad makes it, huh, guys?
Man, I'm
kidding. I don't care. It's dead to me.
All right, well, we got some new games to talk about, but real quick, I want to remind everybody about ways that you can support the Gaming Outsider. If you'd like to help us out, we have a Patreon page where you can more or less donate money each month to help us pay for the hosting service and everything like that. And you get some bonus content as well, and we are going to get back on track with that this month now that Last of Us is over. So if you want to help out, patreon.com/thegocast. That's where you can sign up, and each $3 member will get an additional bonus episode, and each $5 member will get an additional 2 episodes. I think we talked about some other guests for another Desert Island episode, Zach, and I think we need to record another one next week. We got another patron that has actually asked to come on and do one of those Desert Island episodes. Plus, the 3 of us just got to kind of sit around and talk about whatever. For some
That'll
time.
be a blast.
Have some non-gaming related topics, and
I feel like Scott's face will just be tomato red the entire time.
Probably.
It's gonna get R-rated, maybe even drift into X-rated.
Let's go, as the kids are saying these days. Let's go.
Anyway,
Are they really saying let's
patreon.com.
go?
Yes, it's all my 4th graders say whenever it's like the
it went out
Yakai.
of fashion and now it's back.
It's like major in fashion. It's like the yes or awesome. It's let's go.
I can't believe Alyssa and I are old enough now where our stuff is cycling back.
I know. I'm like, it's making a comeback?
Yeah, 100%. See what I did there?
Kids say that a lot.
Again, patreon.com/thegocast if any of that content interests you. With that, let's jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, what's new on the horizon for people to check out?
Plenty of games coming this week. Citizen Sleeper makes its way to PS4 and PS5 on March 31st. Blade Assault, which came out on PC, I want to say about a year ago, is finally coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, Switch, March 31st. Grim Grimoire, speaking of Vanillaware, Grim Grimoire once more comes to PS4, PS5, and Switch April 4th. Speaking of Atari, Atari Mania makes its way to PS4 and PS5 April 4th. That game looks neat. Meet Your Maker comes to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, and PC April 4th. Road 96 Mile Zero, which I'm surprised I didn't realize Road 96 was a big enough hit to demand more. That's cool. PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X and S, Nintendo Switch, and PC April 4th. A Light in the Dark visual novel, Alyssa, Prick Your Ears Up, coming to PS4 and Switch April 5th. Vittoria Lost Haven comes to Switch on April 6th.
Hasn't that game come out I feel like that's been on this list of new games multiple times.
Vittoria?
Yeah, it's slowly making its way to every console.
Wait, has this been on here before?
Well, at this point, it's just kind of fun. Vittoria Lost Haven coming soon to a T-Mex calculator to you. Curse of the Sea Rats comes to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, Nintendo Switch, and PC April 6th. And then Everspace 2, which I think has been in early access for 5 years.
It has.
Finally hit its 1.0 release on PC as of April 6th. That's all the games coming out. Alyssa, what's catching your eye? Is it A Light in the Dark?
You would be correct, my good sir. I mean, that trailer didn't tell me much, but the ending part looks really dark, and I'm like, oh, visual novel with dark aspects, I'm in.
Right. Click add to cart now.
Yeah. So that's pretty much the only one. I'm kind of interested in Road 96, but I haven't played the first game, so I don't know. I know this is a prequel, so I don't know if that would matter in which order you played it. I really don't know what it's about, so but it looks cool.
What about you, Scott?
Curse of the Sea Rats. I'm so in tune with Metroid at this point, so I just feel like it's my duty to play any gear-gated game that comes my way, especially of a 2D nature. So
right, especially if the adventure is in 2D, huh?
Right.
Absolutely. I think Road 96 Mile Zero looks neat. It reminded me that I did want to play Road 96.
I think it's still on Game Pass.
Oh, yeah. I guess I do have a new fancy Xbox, huh?
You do.
All right. I should actually use that once in a while. It's been a great dust collector so far.
Wow. It's like my PS5 until this week.
Yeah. Just say it's good for Vampire Survivors.
Got a $250 Vampire Survivors machine.
Hell yeah.
That's better than my $500 Vampire Survivors machine.
Worth every penny, Vampire Survivors.
Oh, there's 3 more achievements I have to go back and do on Vampire Survivors as well.
Don't see how it's. You've played so much. How is that even possible?
I re-downloaded it.
Good, as you should.
Got to go back. It's just 3 more, man.
You got the DLC?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, what an excellent $2.
Oh, right. Anyway, it is time, guys. I am so excited. This is I think it's one of our most anticipated games. Definitely most anticipated remake of the year, Resident Evil 4. All 3 of us have been playing it. Let's start. How far is everybody? I finished chapter 4.
I'm gonna be the party pooper. I'm only on chapter 2, so.
All right.
And I'm the person that has not played the game before.
Well,
yeah,
Scott,
right.
really? Right? Scott, you barely played it, I thought, right? Or am I mistaken?
I beat it on GameCube back in the day.
Oh, okay.
I played past the controller with a buddy.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you did mention that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that you didn't like it very much, right?
No, I liked it.
What is happening?
I didn't like going back when I went back to replay it now, like about 5 years ago.
Okay.
I didn't like it then and didn't make it very far on the
Gotcha.
replay.
Okay,
But
I'm sorry.
played through it.
I do listen to you. I'm sorry I mixed that all up, though. I apologize. Oh, boy.
Zach,
I'm
how
at
far are you?
middle of chapter 7, I think, or maybe
All right.
start of chapter 8. I am in the castle.
Okay. Speaking of, what is it with Capcom and its like obsession with giving you stats at the end of every chapter? Like, this is how quickly you did it. This is how many times you died. This is how much damage you did. I keep expecting like a S rank or something like that to pop up, which I don't want in a Resident Evil game.
Well, luckily you can not look at it in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
no,
gotta skip it.
yeah. Well, I'm saying, you have to opt in to look at the score, which is
That's
cool
true.
because I don't want to see it. What an interesting way to start a Resident Evil 4 discussion.
I know. I just had to mention that because we're
I
talking
bet
about
no one else
chapters,
did.
but- All right, so I've avoided like talking impressions with Zach up until now. So this is the first time that we kind of get to hear each other's thoughts on the game. And Zach, I'm going to start with you. Actually, I mean Alyssa as well. None of us have talked.
Yeah.
You want me to start? Oh
Yeah.
boy! Right off the bat, it's different, guys. I don't like it.
You don't like it.
Oh.
I was being facetious. Jeez. No, I mean, I think it's great. Of course. I mean, it's Resident Evil, right? How could they go wrong? I do think some of my tone worries are present. It is more serious than the original game, but I guess I kind of saw that coming. But it's not as serious as I thought they were going to go. So I guess that's fine. But right off the bat, I mean, what's there to say? I like that the story, right, is reworked in some ways. They mentioned Krauser earlier, which is nice. His little trainer guy. But I mean, it's Resident Evil 4. You get in there, you shoot some guns. It feels awesome. It still feels great popping people in the kneecaps and then meleeing them into a crowd, or stunning them in the face and getting up behind them to suplex them for no reason.
It's interesting going for. I don't go for the kneecaps. I always go for the head.
I mix and match. If there's a big crowd coming, I try to go for the kneecaps of one of them because it's easier to hit that target, and then just side roundhouse kicking them into the group just to buy yourself some time.
Crowd control.
Yeah. Switch with shotguns or blasting heads. It's awesome. I mean, there's plenty of differences. I'm sure we'll talk more about that, but right off the bat, I can tell you, I think it's a hell of a lot of fun. I don't want to stop playing it. It is very much, the kind of game you don't get anymore. The linear game, and with a smart upgrade system. No skill tree here. You just get better items throughout the game, and you upgrade your weapons, and it feels meaningful, unlike other games
Like Diablo 4.
Yeah, like Diablo 4. But I'm curious. Alyssa, this is your first time playing.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what your thoughts are, so you've played the hectic opening village section.
I have, yes. I still have not completed chapter 2 yet. I'm on it. I don't know how far I am to the end of it. I am really enjoying it so far. Definitely been stressful a couple times, like again with the the village scene. I didn't realize, I was like, it's never ending, and then a certain thing happens, and then it's the bingo line.
Right. Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Because I purposely was not gonna look on YouTube or anything for help with it. I was just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Like, what am I supposed to do besides kill all these people?
Yeah.
Oh, I totally asked Zach. I was like, I don't remember, man. I'm not killing all these people. What do I got to do? And he told me. So
Just gotta wait it out.
Yeah, but one thing that happened with a cow made me really sad.
Did you set the cow on fire?
Burn.
I didn't mean to. I didn't know that would happen. And then it just like ran. It did help me, but I'm like, oh.
Just barbecue.
I just barbecued the cow.
Leon was hungry. But he's got to eat. Not a lot of restaurants in that Spanish village.
And then I don't know what his name is, but Chainsaw Man comes in, and I'm like,
I think
no.
that's his name. That's what I always call him, Chainsaw Guy. I don't know.
Chainsaw Villager is what it says in the like when you go look at the menu for the different characters stuff, whatever.
Okay, Chainsaw Villager.
By the way that I'm not gonna say animated, but like drew or whatever, his eyes.
Oh yeah,
look great, man.
I know. Well, and I also like that they're impossible. There's no way eyes could rest on a human face like that. You know,
right?
Like it's unsettling.
It was really really good.
It is as though the burlap sack is his head.
Yes.
It feels like that.
Quite effective though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That opening sequence. I know all you're doing is running around, whatever. It's intense because I just wanted it. Yeah. I wanted it to be over. And then you hear that thing happens.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, thank God. Because I was struggling and I didn't do what Zack did. I didn't play it on hard. I started it on normal.
I got to talk about that.
Which
later.
The game shames you for playing it on normal.
I'm playing it on normal because it says for people that haven't played Resident Evil 4 2005, right. But then there's something underneath it. I can't remember what it says, but it makes you feel like
it's like a casual mode.
Yeah.
All right, let me interject here while we're talking about difficulty. So I decided to start on hardcore because it said for those that have played Resident Evil 4. And having just played it the night before for 3 hours, I was like, well, I'm obviously primed and ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it is not at all. It is way harder than Resident Evil 4 is. Significantly. I had to do that village section like 4 or 5 times, maybe even 6. Like it was actually kind of annoying. I was actually not having fun. And I kept playing through it. So I'm like, I guess Resident Evil 4 is harder than I remember. Because this is designed for people that have played it. And you can't get much more recent than the night before.
Right.
But no, it is way harder. It is not fun. You can't change the difficulty mid-playthrough. So I actually restarted the entire game and played it on standard, and it is way the hell more fun. And it's way more accurate to the difficulty of Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is not that balls-to-walls tough. I just wanted to give a PSA if in case somebody picks it up and they don't want to feel the shame of if they've played Resident Evil 4 and they feel shameful picking the option for people that have not played it, that's the correct option.
Mm-hmm.
Their wording is rude and inaccurate because I got through the village section in one try when I replayed RE4.
With a crappy control scheme.
Right, with an excellent control scheme of the time.
Well, let's talk about some of the differences, because the big one that stands out to me, and I gotta admit, the first time I saw the merchant, I got a little giddy and excited, because that's like a staple of the original.
What are you buying?
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that character was almost as big as the game itself.
Seriously.
If you're a gamer at that time.
And I don't remember how he was introduced originally in the first game, but you see him he's peering at you through a window.
Yeah. At first I'm like, oh no, there's a bad guy. I'm like, I think that's the merchant.
Yeah, I thought it was the guy from the church at first. Like the hooded guy, 7 foot tall or whatever. And I'm like, oh great, I gotta fight this dude now. And then it was the merchant. I got excited. I might have giggled a little bit.
I was like, I have a friend.
But his voice does not sound the same.
No.
And I can't decide if I like it or not, because my initial reaction is this is not the same dude.
I've learned to love the new merchant, but he does not have the same, what are you buying? He's only said,
I'll buy it at a high price.
Right, and he's only said those things once or twice.
Right? Because you're used to him saying it 7 or 8 times.
Every time you go to buy something, he goes, what are you buying? And it's awesome, and that voice, but he doesn't do it here. I do like that he's like, my back hurts. Did you get that line?
Yes.
And I'm like, me and you both, brother. Because he's like, the years have not been kind to us, huh, stranger? I'm like, no. Right. Thank you for acknowledging that I was here the first time.
But it was still cool. And like I said, the voice is growing on me, but it definitely, I was like, I can't wait to hear him talk. Can't wait to hear him talk. Can't wait to hear him talk. And then that voice came out and I was like, no.
I know. It's not as bad. Neither of you have seen Ada yet, right?
No.
I have not, no.
Her voice actresses might just straight up be bad.
Oh, no.
I've only seen her in one cutscene, but she was noticeably worse than everybody else, which was very disheartening because everybody loves Ada. I'm sure her, if you remember the PS2 version, I guess all the HD versions of Resident Evil 4 had an Ada campaign added on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that'll be DLC at some point.
Would have to be. Can't imagine it wouldn't. I want to talk. I mean, you were more closely in tune with the original RE4 because I only played through that game once at release. Whereas I'm more familiar with Resident Evil 2. So when we played the remake of Resident Evil 2, I was able to notice the differences a lot more in that one. But with this one, I don't remember as much.
I was gonna say, conversely, I couldn't really do that with Resident Evil 2 as well because I'm just not as intimate with that game.
Okay. So I don't remember if some of this stuff existed. Was there like this? I know you said the game is linear, but I still feel like you can still backtrack.
Right.
Like you can head back to the original village of eventually. I don't remember being able to do that except for like just on the mission where like you had to get back to the church. Like now I can go back and pick up the collectibles and everything like that. I don't feel like that was there. Or I can go in the boat and freely drive around the lake.
Right. Yeah, the boat stuff's cool. And that doesn't feel familiar.
Okay. Not just me.
Because I remember after the boss fight, you wash up on shore in Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The lake boss fight, yeah. So you're right. Yeah, there's definitely some differences going on there. But I feel like you did cut through the village a couple times still.
I mean, you would have to because it was all to get back to that church, right? So
but certain path changes didn't occur.
Right.
It's really funny to try to talk about this without spoilers.
Right. A game that like everybody knows the story from, how many years ago was that? 23 years
Besides
ago?
Alyssa.
Or 18 years ago?
Yeah,
because Alyssa hasn't played it.
I was going to say, there's plenty of people who are playing this for the first time, which is crazy to think about, but you're all young. But yeah, it was 18 years ago. Holy crap.
I'm only a year younger than you.
Holy crap. 18 years ago? Yeah. Why'd you say that aloud, bro?
Dude, I got a thing on Time Hop that said Titanic released 25 years ago this week.
Unacceptable.
25
quarter of a century.
That's just insane to me.
I remember when that came out on 2 VHS tapes.
Yep. I had it on 2 VHS tapes.
I remember that too.
So good.
Yeah, but there's a lot of little differences, but mostly, I would say Leon's personality might be the biggest change.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least his delivery.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, the game has a slightly more serious tone, especially, do you remember Salazar from the original, Scott?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's a lot less outrageous than he was.
Okay. Does that include the boss fight? Because that boss fight was redonkulous in a way that I hope they keep it.
I haven't gotten to the boss fight yet.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because the little bits that I do remember, I remember the boss fight at the lake, I remember the boss fight back in the quarry, and I remember the boss fight against Salazar. Because it's just bonkers. And I really hope they keep that there.
Did you have the assist character in the quarry boss fight?
I did.
What an epic intro. Holy crap.
I didn't think that was... I can you skip that? I feel like you could have...
You don't have
missed
to.
That. You don't have to? Okay.
You don't have to assist that character earlier on.
We're dancing around this for you, Alyssa.
Okay.
Well, and for anybody else. No, I guess
we're just cool moment.
We're just going to do a spoiler cast.
We are going to do a spoiler cast.
Spoiler cast for remakes. That's the world we live. We're remaking our spoiler casts.
Yeah. We should just do one Dead Space and Resident Evil. Just do it all together.
Why would you do that? Why not separate into two, man?
We could.
Get more episodes out there. Anyway.
More content.
More sausage making. Anyway.
I know, right.
Are you finding fun in the combat, Alyssa? Are you into the gunplay?
Yeah. I do like it, yeah. Don't really have any complaints with the combat.
Okay.
I do like being able to, melee someone, which is sometimes more effective than, just shooting them in the head.
Right.
They are very aggressive, the enemies.
Yeah, which is cool.
Which I wasn't expecting to have, axes thrown at me and dynamite and all that. I'm like, oh, I gotta run away.
Pro tip, shoot the dynamite in their hand while they're holding it.
I've learned that.
Oh, that was a good feeling.
That is incredibly fun.
You can also shoot the axes out of the air, which is kind of a hilarious thought to me.
But it kind of sucks when you're kind of scrambling to shoot and you accidentally hit an axe. You're like, wasted shot.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I love it. I missed the laser sight from the original game. for aiming.
I purchased it.
But I was gonna say, I purchased one, so that's
Yeah.
nice. But it only works for 2 of the handguns, not all of them, which is weird.
Did you upgrade because there's 2 handguns that are available, one that you can purchase with the spinels or whatever?
Right, I got the Punisher.
You did get the Punisher? I didn't.
Mhm.
I opted not to because I was worried about selling the SG90 or whatever it's called and not getting. He claims that I'm going to get most of my money back, but I don't believe him.
You get all of your money back.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Because that one actually like penetrates and goes through and hits the enemy behind them, right?
Right, and it's incredibly helpful for when you get to the castle, let me tell you, because if you remember those guys with the shields, you can just shoot right through them. So the shields become a non-issue.
Oh, okay, sold. I'm going to go do that
Hey,
then.
note in mind, get Punisher.
Get the Punisher, yeah, do a side quest or 2, get the Punisher.
Side quests are fun.
There's another pistol later called the Blacktail, which is super good, but it doesn't have the bullet penetrating power. So so it's hard to give up the Punisher. And you can't use a laser sight on it, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
But the side quests were not in the original, although the blue medallions were.
Yeah, I was going to say the blue medallions were for sure.
Right, but you weren't hunting down vipers to sell to the merchant or a golden egg. Find the goose that lays a golden egg.
Yep.
But,
and I do every single one. As soon as I that's my priority. As soon as I get one of those.
There's a part where you're kind of dodging explosions in the castle. I don't want to give too much away, but there's like a medallion challenge during that. It's just funny. Ashley's like getting killed, and I'm just like, hold on, honey, I got this. I get these medallions here. That's great.
The thing that's off-putting to me is like, oh my god, all this stuff is happening. Let's go play a shooting range mini game.
Yeah, so fun. Did you play it though?
I did, and I played it a lot because it's actually very well constructed. Like in order to get a perfect score, you can't waste a single bullet. You have to hit like the targets right in the center on some of them, and
right, yeah, they have like critical damage spots that you have to hit every single one of.
But all you get are like little charms to hang from your attaché case, which like is not super rewarding to me.
Here, 20% more submachine gun ammo when you craft. Great. I don't have one.
I've been crafting so much submachine gun ammo. For what purpose? I don't have a submachine gun. Because it's either submachine gun or rifle ammo, and I don't have a rifle either. So.
Oh, dude, I love the rifle. The
bolt action rifle.
Yeah. There's something so satisfying about popping a headshot and then pulling back the lever.
That because it's a bolt action, right?
Yeah, it feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a rifle upgrade later that's semi-automatic. No, sir. No, thank you. I do not want it. I want to pull that bolt back after I get a headshot. It's so satisfying.
I wish I could be in the room the first time that Alyssa encounters a new villager. You know what I'm talking about, Zach?
I think so.
Just because when I played the game in 2005, that was like my what the moment. And I really would love to see her reaction to that, because the way that they've done it in this game is quite impressive.
I'm sorry, are you talking about the chief, or are you talking about
I'm talking about the upgraded villagers.
Okay.
Just the normal enemies.
Oh, okay.
That become not normal.
You're right. Yes, they have a hell of an introduction.
Yeah. It's quite good.
And I love Leon when that happens sometimes to random enemies. He just goes, I knew it. Because that's how I feel.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, he gets more jokey as the game goes on, which I appreciate.
He also lets you know, which is weird, when he's used his last health item.
Yeah,
like, dude, I was just in my inventory. I was just in my inventory. I know it was my last item.
I think that might be there for when Ashley's there, because she'll kind of comment and be like, "Oh no," or something like that, or maybe be like, "I think there might be one around here."
So, do you guys keep your attaché case as tidy as I do?
I do the auto sort.
Do you really?
You monster! How could you?
First time I did it, it was by accident. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to keep it this way.
No, I got like weapons with the ammo right next to it, and then the health items over here, and the upgrade. Like everything is.
My weapons are sorted, so it's just a nice block of weaponry at the top, which I appreciate. It works perfectly for my setup. Although I did just get a Magnum, it's got to be off to the side. It's a little disruptive, but yeah. And then I have all the healing in the bottom right. Yeah, I'm in there way too much, definitely.
There's a game out there right now that's all the game is basically organizing inventory in Resident Evil 4.
They ripped off the inventory system?
They did, but they made a whole game on it. It's like on PC,
God.
and I kind of want to get it after playing this. I'm like, I'm enjoying this.
Oh yeah, do you know the name of it?
I don't. I will look it up after we are done recording and share it with you. Someone is listening to this.
I thought you were facetiously referring to Tetris.
No. Like, there's a legit. They've taken the attaché case minigame sorting thing and made a full-blown Steam game out of it. Like,
okay, I love that. I really thought you were just talking about Tetris.
No. I heard something, and I want to know if either of you heard. Alyssa, you haven't, because you haven't got that far in the game. But when you get the gas for the boat, I swear in my game, Leon goes to say the line, "That's what I'm talking about," right?
Okay.
But I swear what came out was not about. I swear what he said was, "That's what I'm talking about."
Oh, he's Canadian.
And I want to know because it's a boat. And he says a boat, and I want to know if I'm hearing it wrong or if my brain just heard what it wanted to hear, because I laughed out loud.
I think your teacher brain might have been filling in the blanks.
Okay, so Alyssa, when you get there, you're going to have to get some fuel for a boat. Boat. And when you do, and he says the line, "That's what I'm talking about," I want you to tell me next time if he says about or if he says a boat.
This is your big boat conversation you wanted to have?
Yes. This is what I wanted to ask you guys.
Okay, so I'll pay attention to see if he's saying, like, in a punny way, or if he's saying it in the Canadian way, or if he's just saying,
or if I just totally misheard it. Yeah. The last question. Oh, go ahead.
What is the guy who helps you out? Is his name Luis? Luis. He and Ashley, I think, are vast improvements over the original. He's no longer sexually harassing every female character, which is nice. And she no longer behaves like a 13-year-old, which is very nice.
Right, she's like a college girl.
Right.
Was she a college girl in the original?
Yes, she is, even though she also looks like she's 14 in the original.
Right.
And you can no longer look up her skirt, so I'm sorry, everybody. But she actually behaves like an adult, which is nice. Mm-hmm. And she actually has some good back and forth with Leon. Yeah, it is appreciated.
Have you come across any sections with her? Because I haven't got that far. I just acquired her. Where that was one of the most annoying segments about the original game, was having to manage her and keep her alive and keep her hidden and stuff like that. Is that here, or have they fixed that?
Nope, it's here.
Oh no.
Yeah, it is. And I feel like they run off with her real fast. Now, I will say you can't friendly fire her very much. She'll kind of get out of the way, which is nice. And you have two different options. You can either have her stay close to you or try to like spread out far from you, you know? Mm-hmm. But yeah, if she gets hit once, she's incapacitated, and if she gets hit while she's in the ground, she dies, and it's game over. Oh. So you have to run over to her right away and try to pick her up, Gears of War downed friend style. Mm-hmm. But then much more annoyingly, she'll get picked up and dragged off. But, that can happen when you're in the middle of fighting a chainsaw guy, and she just gets picked up by some bozo. So now you got to go run her down, and there's nowhere near as many hiding spots as there were in the first game. So I feel like in the first game, almost every big battle had like a dumpster at the start or whatever that you could just shove her into.
Right.
And there's lockers here and there, but one of two things: one, they are not as common, and if an enemy accidentally like hits the door, it breaks off. So then
really?
She gets kicked out.
Weren't there barrels? I remember there being barrels.
Yeah, and she would stay out of the way, and this way even when I did find a locker, like there's a locker during a boss fight, but even if you shove her into there, the boss, they have chainsaws, the bosses, and it's very easy for those to hit the locker, and it's just not fun having to run her down while the chainsaw thing. I didn't find it super annoying in the original, but it is definitely somewhat annoying.
So it's more annoying.
I think it might be more annoying this time around, honestly.
Great.
I mean, on the plus side, you don't have to waste healing items on her, I guess. Because in the original, you did have to heal her. And this one is just like a weird, one hit or two hit system. Mm-hmm. But I also care more about Ashley now. So I think it bothers me a little less than it might other people.
That makes sense.
But it's definitely annoying. There's no getting around it.
All right. Well, that's Resident Evil 4. Again, with us only being not even halfway through the game, we should probably save more for future discussion. But it's tough to talk about it without spoiling stuff, because at least for me, I immediately want to compare it to the original. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I always get nervous going into a boss fight, and the two big bosses that I fought already that I've mentioned to you already, Zach, I feel like were a lot easier than they were when I played it originally, because I played that lake boss a lot back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was a much easier fight this time around.
Do you miss the QTEs?
No, not really.
Yeah.
No.
I kind of do.
Do you?
I like QTEs.
I didn't think about it. I mean, I think I would prefer QTEs just because I feel like I'm good at QTEs.
Okay. Yeah. No,
But,
I get what you mean about. I do think the bosses are easier. I think it's probably because they were originally designed right for you standing still, and now you can move, and they don't fit, and their moveset isn't that updated. But yeah, like the big boss fight in the burning barn in the original game is here, and it's way easier here.
Okay, because
than it was in the original.
That's the one we're okay. Yeah. That's the one that's bizarre.
Yes.
I love that fight, though.
There is another fact about this game I do appreciate. Just want to get in here real quick. As soon as you start the game up, it tells you, like in the options, there's accessibility options, and there's one for motion sickness. I don't usually suffer from motion sickness in third-person games, but I decided to click it on anyway. I just wish more games had that. It's nice to... It tells you exactly what it does to help alleviate it. So
Look at
that's
that.
just a nice little extra.
Look at that. 2 games we're talking about this week. One does colorblind stuff, and one does motion sickness stuff. So
yeah, I appreciate the accessibility up front.
I'm trying to remember if this game had a colorblind accessibility.
I think it does. And I think it doesn't help on. There's a stained glass puzzle you have later on.
Oh.
And it does not adjust that. And that
sucks.
That was probably the part I was stuck on longest in the game.
That was a tough puzzle anyway, just to even...
Well, imagine if you can't differentiate the colors very well.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one thing we didn't talk about is that the puzzles... Are they the same puzzles? Because they feel very fresh to me.
I don't think they're that different.
No, I don't... Like I said, this is me coming as the guy that was more closely attuned to RE2 than 4.
I think they're slightly mixed up, but I feel like they're mostly the same. Yeah. Okay.
The one that took me a while was the one. Did you get the one with the hexagon pieces?
Right.
Where you can only move 3 at a time?
Yeah. Well, that's an optional puzzle.
Right. But I had to do it.
No, of course. It has a treasure. What are you going to do? Not get the treasure?
I know. Oh, and the treasure system where like you can put different gems into the treasures to sell them for more money. And
it's basically like poker cards or whatever.
Kinda, because then you have to like figure out which combination gets you the biggest modifier. And so like and I'm hoarding all of these gems so that I can try to sell this stuff for the max, but then I don't. Then I get just all 3 the same color and I decide it's fine.
Well, 3, hey, that's 3 of a kind. That's a big bonus, 1.3 times.
Well, for a 3, that's actually the max, but then there's the ones for you're going to get some items that can hold 5.
Right. And you don't want to blow them too early.
Right. So I'm like wondering, do I just like hang on to them? You know, like so I can maybe get that 5er at some point?
Now you can use the spinel for some gems.
Yeah, I got a yellow square one.
Yeah. But you're right. I do find that system strangely satisfying.
Yes.
And I know
so much of this is strangely satisfying.
I know it's just tricking my brain, but I'll be damned if I'm not having a good time. I'm slotting in those gems.
And I know this is a weird thing to say, considering I keep talking about how I appreciate shorter games, but I'm chapter 4, so I kind of get the idea of how long this game is going to be, because I think there's 16 chapters.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, I think so.
This feels like it's going to be a 15, 16-hour game, if I'm doing the math in my head correctly, which I'm after 3, which felt like very short, like 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 hours.
And
awesome 4 or 5 hours. Thought it was rad.
It was, but I'm kind of like that we're going to be stuck with this one for a little bit longer. But
because you're digging it.
I am digging it. I mean, I dug the others as well, but part of me was okay that 3 was over, because the 3 wasn't as memorable to me as 2 and 4.
Right.
So, it was fun, but I'm ready to move on.
Fingers crossed for a Code Veronica remake next.
There's no way it's not going to happen, right? There's just no way.
Well, now I'm worried, because now with Sony remaking The Last of Us, we remake games that definitely don't need it, like Resident Evil 5. So part of me is worried. I'm like, are we going to get an updated Chris Redfield adventure?
Man, Resident Evil 5 was fun just as it is. It was a fun game, but that
great
doesn't
action.
Fun,
great action game, terrible Resident Evil game.
Yes.
Yeah, it did not feel like a Resident Evil game.
No, not even.
Yeah.
But
So you have it. Resident Evil 4, the remake.
Seems like recommendations across the board, huh, guys?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Even though I'm only not even 2 chapters in, really, but I recommend it.
Yeah, I can't. I do not want to stop playing this game.
Me either.
Even when I had to restart to change my difficulty, I was not annoyed at anything.
Nice.
In fact, I was thrilled because the village section was actually fun this time instead of annoying.
Nice.
But yeah. Speaking of games that aren't Resident Evil, however, Scott, you've been playing Tchia, which PlayStation's promoting heavily as a 3D platformer kind of game. It looks like,
Which is kind of ironic that they're promoting an exclusive game so heavily, isn't it?
right? It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Could you
hurt the
imagine
competition?
It would be a shame if they ever like purchase exclusive content, say exclusive side missions in like a game like Hogwarts, thereby making the other versions inferior. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
That would be awful.
That would be gross misconduct. But luckily, PlayStation's
really
above board. Jim Ryan out here making the deals for Tchia, which this is the game that is memorable to me because you can like possess all of the animals right in the world.
You can possess anything, inanimate or living.
You
so
possess a chair.
You could. I haven't tried a chair, but I mean
Okay.
anything that highlights when you walk past it, like a rock or anything, which is actually what you have to do in order. Well, you don't have to in order to do the combat because the combat is very light. You don't have any weapons. You don't have any melee attack.
I didn't think. I would not have assumed there was combat in this game.
I don't know if combat is
Yeah.
the right way to describe it, and that's actually not towards like the second half of the game, but that's where this possessing objects comes into play more so than the first half of the game. That's why I'm mentioning it here. So there are these compounds that you have to take down. You're more or less taking down 3 factories, owned by the bad guy on this island, and they all feed into this hub, and then you go to the hub to destroy that final hub after that. But these factories are filled with sentries and soldiers, and they're all by these creatures that are made out of fabric, which sounds kind of silly, but they actually give this really creepy vibe. They're like just thin pieces of fabric kind of waving, and they're all stuck together with these glowy eyes. They're mildly creepy. But in order to do any damage to these enemies, you just have to pick up any kind of explosive object, like a lantern or a can of gasoline or an incendiary stone, which is like being mined for fuel or something like that. And you just chuck it at a guy, 1 hit, they're dead. That's as simple as the combat is. Or you can possess that object and literally become the lantern, roll around the floor until you get close to the guy, and then propel yourself into it to destroy it, which is kind of fun to do. So that's one of the primary mechanics of the game. But Tchia, what makes this game special is that, and I've put this in my written review as well, is I was not expecting a cultural lesson.
Yeah, this is based on a real. Is it island or?
It's an island country or multiple islands called New Caledonia. It's northeast of Australia. I've never heard of it. I'm a dumb American that doesn't know anything outside the States, right? And it's just really interesting learning about this culture in a game. I mean, and some of the story revolves around the culture, but most of the culture has to do with just being in the world. You get to see what this world is like because it is an open world, and it's not a massive open world. It's not, Assassin's Creed. What's the last one that was just so massive it was mind-boggling? Valhalla. It's not like that size. Most of the game takes place on 2 islands that are just fine.
That are New Caledonia.
Yes, they're part of New Caledonia, and the story is Tchia is a native of this country, and there is the tutorial section has you introduced to her father, who teaches her how to use a slingshot and teaches her some of the basic mechanics of the game. And all of a sudden, somebody shows up in a helicopter and abducts her father, and it turns out that this guy is the second in command of the head honcho bad guy. So Tchia takes it upon herself to seek an audience with this head honcho to basically plead for her father's life. And in order to do that, you have to do a bunch of fetch quests, which is the first part of the game. And I know when you say fetch quests, you immediately, a lot of us tend to get turned off.
Conjures up bad.
Right. But it's it's not very long, and it serves as a way for you to explore the island and get to know the culture a little bit, because the way that you seek an audience with somebody, even like in a small village, is there's a word that is escaping me, but it's part of the culture. They call this where they put a gift on a piece of cloth, and it's arranged in a specific way. So you have to make these gifts for whomever you're trying to seek an audience with, and you have to get those items from the island. And then you go to get them from the island, and someone says, "Well, I have that, but I also need this." So they send you on these quests, which at the beginning are very tedious because there's no run button. So I'm more or less running from place to place until I realized, hey, I can possess anything.
Right.
I can possess a bird. So I possessed a bird and flew from A to B, and it just made it, like, why didn't I think? I wish I would have thought of it earlier. Truly wish I would have thought of it earlier. But yeah, this game, if you know what you're doing, will only take you about 8 hours to complete. It's not very long, which is crazy to say that about an open world game. Now, if you want to go do all the open world stuff, you can. There's tons of stuff to do. And what's interesting is that most of the time when I have an open world game like this, I always want to do that stuff first because I want my character to be leveled up to max or whatever, right? There's none of that going on here. Everything that you do is just to experience the island.
Sounds kind of chill.
It's a completely chill game. That is a word I used multiple times in my review. It's a very relaxing game. There's nothing that takes a whole lot of dexterity, or nothing very difficult. It's just an experience. And I find that really cool, especially with a game that on the forefront is a open world game. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Open worlds, you just hear an open world and you think this is going to be a massive 20, 30, 40-hour experience.
Yeah.
The other cool thing is that this game is filled with mini games that are cute and very easy to manage. I mean, there's rhythm games where it's as simple as note highways that some come from the top, some come from the bottom, and you just either press up or down. That's it. There are some that does a wheel, and each segment of the wheel is a chord on a guitar, and the notes come from whatever angles towards the middle of the circle, and you just have to time it and press the button, for whatever it hits. There are stone stacking mini games that, again, part of the culture is to stack stones like in a specific pattern. There's wood carving where you have to. You're given a template and you have to basically make your wood carving match the template, but it's very simplistic. It's just basically point your cursor here, press the button, and it's carved. There are pieces of fruit to gather. That's the only thing that does an upgrade for you is it increases your stamina, because you need stamina in order to climb mountains, Breath of the Wild style. Mm-hmm. So every piece of fruit that you eat gives you an additional stamina stat, as it were, but that's the only increase. Everything else is just do it just because you want to experience the island. It reminds me, while I was playing it, I kept thinking about Zack talking about playing, is it Haven? Is it the male game?
Lake,
where it was just like a slice of life,
Yeah.
This reminded me of that, although there is an overall story going on as well.
Well, there was a Lake as well, okay?
Yeah, there was.
No shots fired at Lake, okay? No Lake slander here.
No, I didn't mean to make it sound like I was. I haven't played it. I was just misremembering probably.
It's a delightful game.
But I felt like this game is a lot of that. It just there's all this stuff to do, but it's nothing that you have to do. It's just if you want to. And I think that's the biggest positive mark for this game is that you can literally have any experience with this game that you want to, because the game allows you to bypass anything that you don't feel like playing. So if you don't like doing those rhythm mini games, you can either have the computer play it for you, or you can skip it altogether and just continue on with the story. If you're not a big music fan and you don't want to hear this native music, skip it. You don't want to play these side missions, skip it, because it doesn't do anything for you except for cosmetics. So it's not going to hurt anything. You can skip entire gameplay segments. So the parts towards the second half of the game where you infiltrate these factories to take them out, there's a button you can press and just say skip gameplay and go straight to the story. So my initial reaction was like, well, this isn't a game if you can just, bypass it. But the more I thought about it, I was like, this is a game for the first time that has given the player complete control over their way of experiencing it. Maybe someone doesn't like this aspect of that gameplay. I thought it was really clever, and it's a really neat way to do it. Now, I played through it. I skipped a couple of the rhythm games just because it's very repetitive for me, and as a guy that played much more complex rhythm games, it just felt kind of boring for me, but that's just me. You know what I mean? This is very accessible to anybody. I was surprised by how much I dug this. I didn't think I was going to because it was so minimalist, but it's just, like Zack said, a very chill game. Oh, last thing I will say, the game gives you an option to make it more kid-friendly, which I know what you're thinking. You've seen the trailer. This seems like a very kid-friendly game automatically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they even say in the description, look, we understand this game is very cartoony, but we understand that some younger kids may be playing it, so some of the stuff may be toned down, just in case. And I was like, okay, whatever. There's some dark stuff that goes on in this game, guys. Like shockingly dark. When you meet the villain for the first time, the main antagonist of the game, he's in his mansion in the sky or whatever, and he's surrounded by villagers that are all caged. And while he's sitting there lounging on his throne, he just randomly reaches a long claw over, opens up a cage, grabs an infant, brings it over, and just swallows it whole. Just straight up swallows an infant whole.
Awesome.
There's a running gag in the game where a chicken gets its head cut off. And it's running around with blood squirting out of it while the bone is sticking out the top of its neck. Like, that's what I'm assuming they're going to tone that down. Either, I don't know.
Probably.
But
I mean, that still sounds cartoonish and fun, though.
it is, but I'm not used to cartoonish and fun actually having blood. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The bone sticking out feels cartoonish. The blood feels like, wow, that's kind of, just wasn't expecting that. But very, just happy feeling game. It's a very sweet story. It's a legend being told by an older generation to a younger generation. You're living that legend and experiencing it, and just very heartfelt, very sweet, not too difficult. The complete polar opposite of Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that they came out so close together. But again, Tchia. It is spelled Tchia. Very much recommending it after you play Resident Evil 4, of course. And there you have it. I got one more game I want to talk to you about. Rel stopped by to talk to us about 9 Years of Shadows. So we're going to talk about that right now. Well, hello there once again, Rel. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing better than last week. Last week was Sick Town, population me.
Yeah, I know. I remember you talking about that. But I'm glad you're here this week. Glad you're feeling better. It's good to see you. I'm legitimately jealous that you got to play this game that you're going to talk about because it looks gorgeous for what this is. The game is called 9 Years of Shadows. And why don't you tell everybody, I mean, it's a gear-gated game. That's what we call this style of game at the Gaming Outsider now. Instead of the M word.
We don't say the M word.
It's a running joke with my other co-hosts. There's been some hatred about the M word, so we've replaced it with gear-gated game.
Well, I'm gonna say the M word.
But go for it. You can call it whatever you want, man. But yeah, tell us about
Metroidvania.
All right. But talk to us about it, because this game, like I said at the top, it just looks so good. It looks artistic and vibrant in a way that I'm not used to seeing in a game like this one.
It is really, really slick. I mean, picture Symphony of the Night mixed with Metroid Fusion.
That's all you have to say. I'm sold.
There you go. That's
it's literally a Metroidvania.
That's the review. That is the review. I mean, I feel like that was really entirely the intention, based on both how it controls, how it is presented, and the fact that we have a female protagonist that is kicking butt and taking names, in a very vibrant and colorful world that does not really evoke Symphony of the Night in and of itself, but the fact that, there's a backdash, you have a fairly long-range melee weapon, you get power-ups that allow you to traverse further, it's a Metroidvania.
I got to talk about the power-up that you showed at the very beginning of your video, which, again, if you want to follow Rel's stuff, he's on YouTube at Rel Let's Play.
No. YouTube.com/RelPlays. RELLE plays.
But the thing that you mentioned at the beginning of your video was the ability to go up waterfalls. The way you introduced it was pretty funny because he's like, "Oh, I could just swim up this waterfall or jump up waterfalls." No, I'm going to turn into a mermaid.
Of course,
which was just kind of cool. That's something I've not seen in this style of game before. So what are some of the other power-ups that you get?
So I've only unlocked 3 out of the 4 armors so far. Next up is, I'm guessing, Ares armor. The armors are named for, gods and titans in Greek mythology. You start out with the Zeus armor, which is effectively just your basic hit things and shoot at things and, don't die. Then you get the Poseidon armor, which allows you to turn into a mermaid in order to swim through the water as well as swim up waterfalls, which is really fun because they include a dash mechanic and they make a lot of use out of it where you dash jump from one waterfall to the other.
Right.
And then I have most recently gotten the Gaia armor, which lets you travel through tunnels that are very much previewed earlier in the game, and you look at these things and you think, yeah, there's got to be a way to go through those, and you morph ball rocket shot your way through, and it's not like you can freely go in any direction. You basically press a direction and you fire in that direction until you hit something, and then you keep going in whatever other direction is presented to you. So you got to kind of plan out your moves a little bit in certain rooms.
Okay, so what's the story behind this?
Basic premise is there is some sort of curse that has drained all the color and life from the world. Shadows have conquered everything that is civilization. It's been 9 years since this has happened, and our heroine, Europa, has entered the castle to try and discover what is causing the curse. And it's really cool because in the very, very beginning, in what is effectively the tutorial, there's no color. And so you're playing through this area in black and white. You fight.
They did a Wizard of Oz thing.
Yes. And also, I think Rogue Legacy? The very first Rogue Legacy, right?
Well, Rogue Legacy has one of the heirs is colorblind.
I could have sworn, though, that when you first start up the game, it starts in black and white. Either way.
Yeah, because they're telling the past story, but
yeah. Well, either way, you fight the first boss. I think you're effectively invulnerable, and then the boss does a, Super Metroid Mother Brain hyper beam at you, and then you're rescued by the little teddy bear ghost that's featured in the artwork, and color is back in the castle, and you have to explore it and help save the orchestra, which provides you with side quests, and get the armor, get stronger, and break the curse.
This sounds great. And you're playing this on PC, but I believe it's coming to Switch later on in the year, correct?
Yes. I am on the developer Discord, and I believe they said that they were planning to bring it to the Switch. They also had sort of vague plans for DLC content. It's one of those things where, they would love to do this, but they also need to have a strong launch in order for it to be, worth their while, because they are a small indie group.
Gotcha. That developer being Halberd Studios, the publisher being Freedom Games. So I assume you're going to be recommending this one to people?
Yes, absolutely. It is $20 American. They have told me that there will be a 20% launch discount, so that's $16. Absolutely recommend it for the price. I currently have about, let's see what Steam says, 3.5 hours in the game, and I've gotten 3 out of the 4 armors, and I'm not sure how much more there is. I also do recommend it in part because, like I said in the video, it's relatively simple compared to Symphony of the Night. Because in Symphony of the Night, for instance, you have a number of different abilities along with equipment that you want to equip on your character, raise your stats, swap out weapons depending on the situation. This is very basic in the sense that you have the one halberd, which is underrepresented in games, by the way. You do gradually increase your stable of moves that you can do. The bosses do get progressively harder, but overall it is not super deep, but still really fun. So if you want a nice intro to the genre, then this is a good entry point.
I like the idea of a short, bite-sized, gear-gated game, as it were. Which, I just recently played through Metroid Fusion. That game is way better than I remembered it being, and it was so short. Like, in my mind, that game was like a 12-hour game, and I think I got through that game in about 4 or 5 hours.
Well, yeah, because 5 hours of that experience was running from the SAS.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, thanks so much for checking out 9 Years of Shadows, man. I think when this one hits Switch, I'm going to definitely have to check it out, because I encourage people to check out the trailer. It looks stunning. The use of color and just how slick everything looks to move. I can't wait to play it. So, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
We'll talk to you later. All right.
Later.
Thank you so much, Rel. I appreciate that. And we're going to go ahead and move on very quickly. Want to do some quick housekeeping and remind everybody that we've got several places that you can interact with our community. The first being our Facebook group, which can be found at facebook.com/groups/the GoCast. We've got some new members over there to say hello to. Somebody by the name of Yaw Asari, Scott Londusky, Jennifer Cyprit, Masiej Wileniski, Alyssa Willett, and Adam Smith. Welcome to the community and welcome to the podcast. We hope you are enjoying it. Also, on our Discord server, we got a new member. I can't remember if I read this one last week, but I'm going to give you another shout out, man. It goes by the name of Doomerang. He's been an awesome member already. Had lots of good conversations with him. Would like to also remind you, please do us a favor and review us. Wherever you're listening to your podcast, if it gives star ratings or allows you to leave a note, let us know what you think of the show. And if we see them, we will read them on the show, especially Apple Podcasts. We would very, very much appreciate it. Lastly, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. That's where you can hear all of our episodes and also see all of our written content, which includes my written reviews for The Forest Cathedral, Pronti, and also the previously mentioned Tchia. Those will all be up on the site by the time you hear this episode. With that, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. For this week's topic, I wanted to talk about times in our gaming career where we were most amped for a game's release. What trailer or announcement got you the most excited for when it came out? It could be something very recent. It could be when you were a kid. I want to know when you were the most giddy for a video game and whether or not your expectations were met when you finally got to play it. So, let's start there, actually. Do you guys think that as we get older, the excitement isn't as high as it was when we were kids?
Definitely.
Yeah, I've mellowed out in that regard, yeah, as I've gotten older.
It kind of makes me sad.
I know. I wish I was still jumping around for joy like I did when I was a kid. When I was like, new game announcement.
Do you think that's because there's just so much now? Or do you think it might be because of the internet?
I just feel like it's because I'm old.
That too.
I think you might be onto something, Scott, with the amount of things.
Mm-hmm.
Because certainly, I was very excited for the Spider-Man game in 2018, and I'm less excited about the sequel. Of course, I'm going to play it and stuff. But in those 5 years, Spider-Man has really, more so than he used to be, infected every single corner of nerd conversation.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of insufferable.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a combination. If you think you just get older, you just kind of mellow out in general. But it is also just like nothing's really special anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Well, plus, just look at how much easier it is to even see these trailers.
Oh yeah, they're go on YouTube every day and there's a new game trailer out.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple, actually.
I'm one of the games I'm going to talk about shortly. I had to download the trailer overnight on my 56K modem.
Well, I already know what game it is now.
Yeah, because we've talked about it in the past, but like there was no like just going to YouTube and watching a trailer for a game. You had to work for it.
Right. You had to or get a demo disc and it had the trailers on there.
Oh, I love
yeah.
those demo discs.
Yeah.
That was great, especially when you were poor and like even if it had a playable demo on it. Oh, forget it. I'm playing that 20 or 30 times.
My uncle and I bonded over playing those because he would subscribe to Electronic Gamer, and there were a couple others, and they'd come to the demo discs, and we'd sit there and play every single demo together over and over and over again.
Oh man, I played the demo for Final Fantasy VII easily 20 times. Like by the time I got to the actual game, like I had that whole section memorized, like where the items were and everything.
I think I played the demo for Siphon Filter, the Omega Strain so many times that when the game actually came out, I was like, I'm a little burned out on it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even pick it up.
Going off topic a little bit, every time I hear someone say Siphon Filter, my uncle always pronounced it Siphon Filter, so that is just ingrained in my memory, and I'm like, Siphon Filter!
Wow, interesting.
I have to say, my uncle has a way of saying words in a very unique way, and I used to say those words the same way. I had to teach myself not to say those words in that pronunciation.
I'm happy you did.
It just, in my mind, every time I hear Siphon Filter, my mind goes, Siphon Filter.
That's funny.
Siphon.
Siphon.
In your comment, Zach, I had one similar. I think I played that one song of Parappa the Rapper on the demo.
Punch,
I did
kick,
too.
it's all in the mind.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I ever played another song because I never played the full game. I just played that one
either,
song in the
but
demo.
I played that demo over and over.
I don't think I did until it came to PSP.
Yeah. Was it good? Or were the rest of the songs just like, okay?
Yeah. Oh, it peaked at
Yeah.
the karate lesson. Yeah. But the other ones are fun too. It's just, they made a mistake. They gave you the best stuff up front with that.
I mean, they had
Yeah.
to sell it, right? That was.
I know, but you gotta choose the second best thing.
Right.
Then when you play it, you're still happy you spent your money.
Now, playing rhythm games now, we've been so ingrained with like Guitar Hero and everything. When you go back to Parappa the Rapper, does that seem very basic nowadays? It just looks so simple compared to like the rhythm games of today.
It is, I guess, but
I mean, like think of like Amplitude and stuff like that. And
Right.
that game is just 4 buttons, right? It was just the face buttons, wasn't it?
yeah, that sounds right.
So I kind of want to go back and play that and just see if it's as easy as it looks or if I'm just, full of myself. Anyway,
Did you play Thumper?
I did. I played it in VR
Yeah.
actually.
Okay, it just seemed like a game you would like. I remember that kind of having a simple control thing.
It was just like left or right, basically.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting game. That I needed a game to play with the gold headphones, the PlayStation Gold headphones that everyone raved about. I finally got my hands on a copy of those, and I'm like, I got to play something music related. I played Amplitude and I played Thumper, which. Anyway, I'm glad we're in the same boat there, the same boot there.
You just get beat down so much in life. It's hard to get excited for things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do.
not to like bring the show down, but like this week of spring break, I was very excited for. I purposely made no plans, and even throughout the week, like I got halfway through the week, like on Wednesday, and I'm like, man, I'm already halfway through this break. I'm already like depressed about going back to work. You know what I mean? And I still have 4 or 5 more days to go, but my mind is already like that clock is ticking. I mean, I got to hurry up and relax.
It's already in. I can't believe I wasted this break mode.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I did. I played a lot this week, but
Well, that's great. No, I'm glad you did.
but yes, the excitement is not like it was when I was a kid, and I'm not convinced that it's not just because we're getting old. That there's just that shit because I still get excited about stuff like I do when a kid. Like I get giddy, like when something just gets me going. But it was a lot easier to happen when I was a kid. So
I think it's a combination of nobody lets anything die anymore.
Yeah.
Nothing ever rests. Nothing can ever be exciting when it comes back. And also just like especially in video games, like so much of our things are safe bets. Like if somebody does now announce a new IP that is a third-person shooter or whatever,
It's an anomaly.
Well, but even if it is a new IP, top to bottom, odds are the mechanics are going to be everything you've seen before.
Right.
But when we were growing up, this is old man Parkerson here. When we were growing up, like when Resident Evil 4 came out, right? A good example of, I've never seen a shooter like that before.
Mm-hmm.
Or Splinter Cell came out, I've never seen a stealth game like this before.
Right. It's getting so difficult to come up with fresh ideas because
right.
Everything has been done to some degree, if it's not in the AAA market, it's in the indie market.
Well, and I was going to say, indie might be the salvation there because, Vampire Survivors might not be wholly new, but, the auto shooter was like an interesting spin on a familiar genre. Mm-hmm. So I refuse to believe that all the ideas are used up. It's just I don't think the big and mid publishers are willing to take the risk on the new stuff.
It's all about the Benjamins, which I get it. It's a business.
Right.
Those bigger risks, are
it's not
tougher to...
It's not just a business, Scott. It's an artistic medium.
I get it, but it's also a business.
Right.
So what do you guys think? What game announcements got you the most excited over the years? Doesn't have to be just one. Give me some multiple examples of a game, even if it wasn't a trailer, just like you saw it in print in a magazine, or what game could you absolutely positively not wait for its release? It just consumed your every waking moment until it came out.
I mean, I don't really think I've experienced that, but I will say I was kind of taught to not be giddy about things.
That's good. Yeah, you want to kill the excitement in your youth. I understand.
Yeah.
Beat happiness out of the children, I say.
No, it's just okay. The reason why is because I wasn't diagnosed with autism. This is going off topic, but anyway, I wasn't diagnosed with autism until I was 25. But the thing was, when I would get really giddy about something, I still do it to this day, but I don't realize I'm doing it. I start talking really loudly and really quickly, and people will just say, "Calm down, quiet down, lower your volume," and I don't know I'm doing it. It just kind of like, I get why they're saying that because it's probably might be hurting their ears or whatever, but it just instantly kills the excitement for me. And it just makes me not want to be like that. So
that makes me so sad. I want to see you excited, Alyssa. I don't care how loud you get. I want to see you amped up about it.
Well, most adults hate seeing happiness in other people. So.
That's true.
That still happens to me now. Like if I get excited about something, people will tell me you need to quiet down because I'm being loud.
When next time you're getting excited about an announcement, get Scott and I on the phone.
Yeah, just call us. We like do a three-way call. We want to join in that excitement.
Right. Absolutely.
I want to hear it. You will never hear me say, Alyssa, keep it down. I promise you, those words will never come out of my mouth.
Okay, thank you. Because it is actually a big bummer to hear that, and it kind of taught me to not be giddy about things. So I don't really get giddy about things because I think it was
makes
just
me sad and angry at the same time.
Way to pick an uplifting topic, Scott.
Yeah, I didn't know.
No, it's my fault. It's my fault.
No, it's not your fault. It's the people around you's fault.
It's my trauma's fault.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough.
But just in case anyone else out there has dealt with the same thing, you got someone who understands you.
Nice. All right, so Zack, how about you, man?
Okay, so I was taught never to be excited about anything.
No.
No. Yeah. Video games. Yeah, of course, I've been plenty excited for a lot of video games. I mean, yeah, I was over the moon excited about Spider-Man when it was coming out, especially because we got to go to E3 and all that.
Yeah,
that was pretty insane.
Didn't you get to talk to one of the guys and like thank him or something? And he got emotional.
Well, that was the year after. Yeah, he gave me a hug.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, it was their animation lead, who I recognized. And he was like, "This is the first time I think anybody's ever recognized me." Yeah, that's cool.
So sweet.
That was a great little story.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously pretty pumped. I don't know how many times I played that demo at E3, but it was a lot. And yeah. And I was theorizing and excited. I was like, who's going to be in this game? Is the Goblin going to be here? What's going on? It
was easily 45 minutes of that podcast in LA when we were just talking about Zack playing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I believe it. I was really excited for Advent Rising when I was a youth. That was a game where I saw a magazine ad, and I was like, what the hell is this? And it really ignited my excitement. And there was a specific trailer that was like made to look like a movie, and it had Tommy Tallarico's music blaring over it, and they actually played it in front of Revenge of the Sith in some cinemas.
Oh wow!
That's why Majesco doesn't make AAA games anymore. But I was just so excited. I was like, this is gonna be the Star Wars of a generation. This is it. Everybody's gonna get behind this game. It's gonna be the trilogy to end all trilogies. And then it
there's only one of them.
So yes, and it maybe Majesco said, we're not making games of this budget anymore.
I'm sorry, man. That's what's funny is most of the comments that we got were people that got amped about it, and then they finished the story with, but it turned out not being what I thought it was going to be, or it was awful.
I mean, I still love Evan Rising. Don't get me wrong.
Right, but you didn't get more. You didn't get the trilogy that you were promised.
When I was re-listening to podcasts of us talking about Red Dead Redemption to see what my thoughts were.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember how excited I was. I said it was the last game anybody should bother making.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I was like, this is it. We don't need to make games after this.
Yeah,
which is hilarious. Yeah, and that obviously bummed me out at the time. But you know what? That song ended sweetly.
It did.
It
teaches us a lesson to go back and retry stuff that we didn't like back in the day.
Well, and to just take your time with stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Now that game's a 12 out of 10.
I do have a little positive thing to insert into my experience.
All
I did get
okay.
really excited when I was a kid. Every time there'd be a new Tomb Raider entry come out, because I'd play the game with my uncle, I'd play it here, and my mom would play it. And don't ask me why I would play it. I have a playthrough. My mom would have a playthrough. We were helping each other out both times. Like, if I was playing it, she would tell me stuff from the walkthrough, and then if she was playing it and she needed help, I would read the walkthrough to her. Mm-hmm. But it's just, I was so excited to play the games and see what Laura was going to get up to in that installment, and then just having that time with my uncle and my mom was just really exciting. So,
nice.
Yeah. I always looked forward to that. Even like, Angel of Darkness, I didn't hate that game. I was a kid.
Dude, I think it's great. I don't care. I still think it's good.
I'm like, why are people hating on this game so much?
Dude,
me as a little kid.
I mean, it's funny that she opens the cabinet and goes, I feel my arms are stronger now.
Yeah.
But
what?
Yeah. Because there are parts where like you have to move a crate to get in position to jump. But she's like, I'm too weak. I can't move this. But then you just have to upgrade her arms. But you do it by you break open a closet door or something. She's like, I feel stronger now. And then you can go move the crate.
That's so bizarre.
It's a strange choice. But if the game I was more excited for, I could tell you right off the bat, more than anything else in my history, it made me. It's part of my username now. It's Assassin's Creed, the first one.
First one.
I couldn't wait. It was from the creator of Sands of Time, the same developer, same publisher, same directorial lead, and it looked like Prince of Persia, but in real history. Mm-hmm. And this idea of actually playing as assassins, which I was already obsessed with when I was a kid, and they were going to all the details, the dipping the feather in blood, and then every trailer, right, had these weird little glitches, little sci-fi technical stuff. I'm like, what the hell is the story of this game? Mm-hmm. And it's, you had no idea leading up to it, but I was just so excited about it. I remember getting excited even in the previews that you could see every weapon on his body, because I feel like that wasn't a big thing back then, right?
Right.
But you could see every throwing knife and every dagger, and there was a crossbow in the first trailers and stuff. And I watched that E3 demo, even with the glitch where the body floated in the air. I rewatched that E3 demo probably 100 times because I couldn't believe it. And the idea of, you had to research your target first before you, by eavesdropping on benches and stuff. It almost felt like an assassin simulator. Mm-hmm. And I was just so excited. And then when I played the game and, had that sci-fi opening.
Oh, what a great intro. I did not expect that game to open that way. It
was a phenomenal intro, but even with my level of excitement, dude, I was in gym class pretending I was Altair, even though I didn't even think I knew his name. I would walk down the hallways and I would just kind of flick my wrist pretending I was flicking the hidden blade.
How old were you when the Assassin's Creed came out?
16. Way too old to be behaving like this. But I couldn't wait for this game. And I remember I got grounded right before it came out because of my bad grades. But even my dad even knew how excited I was for this game because he's like, all right, you can have it for 2 days. And he doesn't know that even after that, I would sneak into his bedroom and take the Xbox when he was at work and just play it anyway.
And then hook it back up before he got home.
And then put it right back in the closet before he got home. You betcha. So hope you're listening to that one, Dad. But dude, I couldn't wait. And the best part about all of it is that it exceeded my expectations. I couldn't even believe how good it was.
Yeah.
That first one, especially like you think back to the parkour, how you had to like plan out the route on the side of the building because you couldn't just climb up anything. Dude, it was
I kind of
so
missed
awesome.
that, man.
Yeah, it's part of why I can't get into Assassin's Creed as much. And if you remember, even the control scheme, guys, I'm sorry, I'm really ranting about this. This is how excited I was. Like I remember even like the A button was for feet, right? And your X button was for your weapon arm, and your Y button was for your head. Like it had this control scheme that I don't know. It was revolutionary. I thought it was cool, and then they tied it into the narrative. Even oh my god, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, so that's easily the most excited I was for a game. I mean, that's why it's part of my username. For my gamer ID is Persian for it's Ashrek Aimane. It's Persian because of Prince of Persia for Assassin Rising because you're going to play Assassin's Creed as an assassin rising through the ranks.
It's awesome, man.
It
Yeah.
is awesome.
I knew the definition. You've told me what that means and that it was Persian, but I never knew it was because of Assassin's Creed. That's kind
Yeah,
of
I always
dude.
wondered about that as well, seeing your username.
Now you know.
mine is my first name and my middle name. Like that's my username, my gamer
Mine's
tag.
just what I called myself as a kid. Because I couldn't say my actual first and middle name together.
So you're Lissery?
Lissery. Lissery. That's what I used to say.
Aw, that's adorable.
When
Yeah.
mom,
Is that
when
on
people
video
would ask my name.
somewhere?
Sadly, no, my parents did not have a camcorder. But this is what my mom said. Every time someone asked me what my name was, I'd go, Lissery.
Aw.
Well, it's great that you carried that forward.
Yeah.
But what about
Yeah.
you? What about you, Scott? Surely you were excited about games at some point.
Mine are mostly older ones. Just because I feel
which
like
makes sense, right?
yeah, because that's like when you're a kid. I mean, I wasn't going to school and parkouring in high school. I wish that were in video. My God, that would be
That would be awesome to see.
that would be great if we had that. The first one that comes to mind, and I feel like I've told this story before, but the first time you find out that a sequel to a series you love is coming, and you never knew. I just saw a TV commercial for Super Metroid, and I couldn't. You probably don't even remember this commercial because it was '94. You were probably like 7 or something like that,
I was
right?
2.
You were 2, so you were
So
3.
Zach was
Zach?
3. Yeah.
Yeah.
My God! So I was a teenager, or a preteen, whatever. I would have been 13, 14 years old when I saw this commercial, and all the commercial was it was a dog sitting there, and this guy off camera takes you see his hand come in. He's holding a raw steak. He's like, "Hey boy, you want a nice big juicy steak?" And the dog just kind of sits there like whatever, and the guy pulls his hand back, and he says, "You want to play Metroid 3?" And the dog just lunges at the camera and like just attacks and like all this kind of stuff. And then it just says Metroid 3 coming whatever 1994. And I watching that commercial, my mind exploded because I worshipped Metroid. I loved Metroid 2 and the Game Boy, and the fact that my Super Nintendo was now going to be getting another Metroid game. There wasn't a single shot of gameplay shown in that commercial, man. They did not
Right, but
show.
You didn't need it though.
I didn't need it. Imagine doing a commercial now without showing a single frame of the game or a single shot, screenshot, anything, just a random, we give you the title. People would riot. But I was so amped. I literally jumped up and down and I said, "Did you see that? Super Metroid 3? My parents were like, "What is the matter with you? Quiet down. You're being too loud." Right, Alyssa?
Right.
So that one is the first one that came to my mind.
That'd be, dude, I wish they would still do that. I wish Gabe Newell would just turn on his webcam, just lean forward, Half-Life 3, and then just turn it off.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. I just somebody did that with what's the guy's name from that did Twisted Metal?
David Jaffe?
Yeah,
David Jaffe on stage. They were yelling Twisted Metal, and he just goes, "Soon!" expletive. And that's all he said. We're like, "Oh, it's happening. It's
That's all I need
happening."
to know. Yeah.
And then that game was okay. Like it was
Right.
So that one stood out to me. Another one was Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, both individual, separate. Again, who didn't love Mario as a kid? But I was in that perfect age, and I will never forget. I didn't even know this is how cool my parents were when I was a kid. I didn't know Super Mario Brothers 2 was a thing. This is back in the 80s when there wasn't the internet and there wasn't TV commercials for video games as often. I was sitting in Beloit, Wisconsin at McDonald's with my parents, and we're just having dinner and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden my dad says, oh, by the way, we got you something. And just plops down a copy of Super Mario Brothers 2 in front of me. My mind exploded. I know that one kind of doesn't work for this topic because I was given the game right away. I wasn't like anticipating it. But just the sheer excitement I had of not being able to contain myself until I got home to be able to put this thing into my console and eventually learn that it wasn't a Mario game. But that's besides the point. Still love the game. I wish there was a video camera to show my level of excitement when I saw that this thing was there. And Mario's holding a radish or something. What is that about? Mario doesn't get to hold anything. Like, that was just beyond excitement.
Damn, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, and it blew my mind. The other one is Super Mario Brothers 3. By the way, the Super Metroid commercial, if anybody can find it, I have scoured YouTube and I cannot find that commercial. There's one that was similar. It was not the same one. I just want to see the one where he's holding meat. The dog's not interested, and then says, "How about Metroid 3?" and then attacks the camera. If you could find it, let me know. When Super Mario Brothers 3 was announced, you probably don't remember the commercial, but there was a commercial. It starts out with a kid just out in the middle of nowhere, and he's looking up at the sky where the camera is, looking at the camera in the sky, and just says, "Mario, Mario," and the camera slowly backs up. And there's more people around him that are all chanting, Mario, Mario. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you notice that all the people are wearing different colored shirts, either yellow or blue or red or white, and just more people keep getting added, and it backs up so far that now you're looking from space at the Earth, and all these people have converged to create an image of Mario's face on planet Earth.
Cool.
And that was Super Mario Brothers 3. That's how it was announced. Although it was technically announced in the movie The Wizard.
Right, of course.
With Fred Savage, which I don't know if you know the history behind that movie, Alyssa, but like that was not okay. Super Mario Brothers 3 was not even known to exist at that point. And the story of The Wizard is Fred Savage's younger brother is a video game prodigy. And they take him to a video game competition, and they practice along the way and all this kind of stuff. And he plays this, and then they have this brand new secret game that nobody's ever played before. And they pull the curtain down on this massive screen, like in the 80s, and just there is the opening title screen for Super Mario Brothers. I'm getting goosebumps, like thinking about it, because that was the coolest. As a kid, I didn't even know that Super Mario Brothers existed, and now I'm seeing gameplay of it. This jackass kid that's the nobody actor gets to play this game in a movie, and I'm stuck at home having to wait for this thing to get released. And who knows? However, I was so freaking amped for that game, I couldn't even describe it. So I've got more. I feel like I'm talking too much. Does anybody have any others?
I can tell you, Nier Automata, when that got announced, I was pretty darn excited because I assumed there would never be a sequel to Nier because it, sold like crap and the developer shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess Platinum wanted to resurrect it for whatever reason. I remember the debut trailer was just like 2B falling and, kind of like just like had her sword out or something like that. I don't even know if you saw her face in the first trailer.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was just called Project Nier Sequel or something at the time. But I remember getting so excited, I was like, this kind of looks, familiar. And then when the Project Nier came up, I was like, what? And then 2B drops in, and we didn't know it was 2B at the time. So it's like, dude, that's Yona grown up. That's obviously Yona grown up, which if you've played both games, you know how ridiculous that is to say now. But yeah, I remember being pretty stoked about that. Also a little, cautious because of how good I thought the first game was, but yeah, I definitely, I pre-ordered the collector's edition. I'm sure I told that story before about how I had to like go to the bathroom at work because the pre-orders went up for the black box.
Uh-huh.
So my poor buddy Jeremy had to cover the brunch rush for like 10, 15 minutes while I ordered it. What a bro.
Hey, we've all done it for somebody, right?
I mean, they were sold out, like an hour later or whatever, because there were so few of them because nobody thought the sequel to Nier was going to sell.
Right.
which is hilarious to think about now, of course.
Yeah, because that game
7
was
million.
insanely popular.
7 million copies later.
Nuts.
What about you? Let's go back to you, Scott. Come on, you got more, I know.
I do have more. I mean, the one I talked about where I downloaded the trailer the night before was Final Fantasy VIII.
Right.
I can't tell you the number of times I watched that opening cinematic for Final Fantasy VIII because we didn't know what was going on in the story. And,
right.
you know, like, what is going on? Why are there feathers? Like, what? Who's this woman with the mask that does this thing like this? And is this a love story? They look like they're in love, but they look like they hate each other at the beginning. And why is there the beach? And is that a sword with a revolver in the end of it? Like everything was just like, what is this game? I can't wait. And just because of how amped everybody was for 7, I watch it and I would, you know how people do that now? They watch a trailer and they study frame by frame. I was doing that in the 90s, man. Like I was doing that before it was cool. Like,
but you were doing it was postage stamp size or whatever.
Right. Oh man, that was so amped. More recently though, Fallout 76. I don't know if you guys remember
the live stream.
Oh, yeah, the 24-hour one.
My goodness, that was an event. For those that don't remember, before Fallout 76 was announced, Bethesda just put up a live stream. I think it was on Twitch and it was on there wherever, and it just had, wasn't it just like a Vault Boy sitting in a boardroom with a watch on it or something? And that's all it was. It was this live stream on a Vault Boy action figure or bobblehead or whatever. And everyone's like, what's this mean? What's this mean? What's this mean? And I will never forget because it was at the end of the school year. It was the last day of school. And I was in my classroom cleaning up my classroom. I had the video up on my smartboard so that I could clean my classroom and just see if anything happened. And we were all on Facebook like, hey, this happened. Something happened. Some balloons fell. Somebody came in the boardroom and
what does it mean?
We were all like, what does it mean? And I've never been so collectively excited just because of my love for Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 that we were going to possibly get another Fallout 5. And then it was announced to be Fallout 76. And you know how much Fallout 76 I've played?
0 hours.
Zero minutes. I've never played it. So I can't speak to its quality, but
I remember the minor controversy because they didn't tell you what kind of game it was, but they were taking pre-orders already.
Right.
Oh
Do you
yeah.
remember that? And then Jason Schreier had to be like, okay, I didn't really want to ruin their surprise, but this is an online MMO, just so everybody knows. This is not a new Fallout game.
Right.
Thank God for Jason on that one.
So I was very disappointed. Can we just get Fallout 5, please?
It's what, 2032 probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's might be a conservative estimate at this point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
they got to do Elder Scrolls 6 after Starfield, right? And then
Yep.
Fallout 5.
I think I'm going to replay New Vegas.
Same. I want to, I guess.
I just remember that one starting out. It was so difficult at the beginning. Like it took a while for me to get over that hump of New Vegas, but
It was made by the actual Fallout creators, so it's going to be a little harder.
yeah. Last one I'll mention is BioShock Infinite. I actually am reminded of this one more recently because I have this app on my phone called Time Hop that actually shows you your social media posts on this day for the past however many years. And my Facebook posts leading up to Infinite's release were ridiculous. Like, it actually is tomorrow. It's like the anniversary of Infinite. I was ridiculous. I remember I was so amped. I forgot a good friend of mine was having some pretty major surgery that day, and all I was texting him was how excited I was for Infinite, and I really felt bad afterwards. But it
was probably a nice distraction for him.
Well, he wasn't as excited about it as I was. So,
Yeah,
I mean, he called me out on it too. He was like, "Dude,
they're prepping me right now."
yeah, I'm about to go under, and you're still talking to me about this."
Like prepping you for what, man? The pre-order window or what?
Yeah. I totally forgot that it was even happening. He had told me before, and I dropped the ball. But those are definitely my biggest ones. I feel like I'm missing one, but I've talked way too much. So let's see what the community said, because we had a pretty good response from everybody. And Zach, why don't you kick things off over on Facebook?
Oh yeah, I demand to. Josh Steima writes in, Max Payne 3. Hell yeah. When I first heard it was happening, I was over the moon. Then it dropped, and it exceeded every expectation I had.
Did you agree? Did you like Max Payne 3?
Oh, I love I think Max Payne 3 is great. It's no 1 or 2, but it's great. I had a different reaction when they announced it because they announced it and then they're like, and also James McCaffrey's not coming back. Max Payne's not in New York and he's bald. And I was like, well, screw this. But then they reversed all of those decisions because I was not alone. And then the game came out and it was, it's great. It did exceed every expectation I had because I was probably less excited and more cautiously optimistic than Josh was.
I feel like Max Payne 3's enjoyment was contingent on you playing the first two because that was my introduction to the series.
I mean, that's still the only one I've played. I have not played 1 or 2.
And did you guys not like them?
I liked 1 and 2.
Okay.
But I never finished 3. I just did not understand.
I like 3. I just need to play 1 and 2.
Okay. Well, they're remaking them, so I'm sure they'll.
Yeah, I'll definitely play it. And then I'll make my ranking. But I did enjoy 3.
1 and 2 are like, they're so much different. It's just not even the same type of game.
Yeah.
Almost.
I mean, the cutscenes are in, graphic novel format.
Right.
That's a pretty big difference right there.
Which was pretty cool.
I mean, it is awesome.
They better retain it for the remakes. I'm really worried they won't. There's
no way that was part of the appeal. You're not alone in liking that.
Remedy's storytelling has come so far, or maybe they bridge the gap and they let you pick.
No, that comic book is going to be one of the what do they call them in Control? The points of power, or what do they call them?
The little like FMV sections, or wait, what are you talking?
No.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, artifacts of whatever they call
EOPs, weren't they? Element EOPs or something like that. It was a weird acronym.
I don't remember the lore. I'm sorry.
I don't remember either.
Objects, OEPs, objects of power, objects. Somebody's gonna remind us.
Jeez Louise, we're not gonna solve the Control lore right here, guys.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, that one of those objects will be like a comic book, and that'll be the tie-in for that.
Right. The Max Payne's canon.
Yeah.
To the Remedy verse.
I like it. All right, Alyssa, you're up.
Matthew Brody writes, unfortunately, Anthem. I was so hyped when I saw the gameplay trailer at E3. A co-op looter where I could customize my mech? I pre-ordered. It's just too bad that the biggest feature of that game was empty promises.
Yeah, I played the alpha or the beta, whatever.
Yeah, I played the beta as well, and I was like, I'm not feeling this.
I felt like Iron Man for a couple minutes, and I was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, I'm with Matthew. I was kind of excited when they announced it. I was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting new departure for BioWare. Yeah, and then I played the beta, and I was like, this is one of the worst things I've ever had the displeasure of controlling.
Yeah.
It was truly unmitigatedly awful.
When we do the Extra Life event with the people in Milwaukee, the EXP cast, they have like stacks of copies of Anthem that they just hide around the house and say, if you find one, you get to keep it. And almost everyone is still there when we leave.
Well, yeah, if somebody finds it, just be like, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty funny. It's too bad. I had a lot of cool things going on in that, but it's
pretty rare a game comes out and doesn't have a single redeeming thing about it.
Yep.
But Anthem in 12 minutes. Those are the games.
Oh.
Yeah, that 12 minute. I remember the 12 minutes review very well.
Oh my gosh.
But at least we finished 12 minutes.
That's true. It took a lot longer than 12 minutes though.
What a bizarre game that was. Holy cow. Did we do a spoiler cast on it? I can't remember.
I think we did. I think I cursed a lot.
Yeah. I believe, Zack cursed a lot.
I needed somewhere to vent my frustrations.
Yeah. Let's see. Sean Coates writes in and says, I got 2 that stand out. One ended up being great and the other a huge disappointment. The good? GTA San Andreas. I was working at Target at the time and placed a pre-order for myself. And I'm sure I said this before, but I skipped my morning college class the day it launched. Still love the game, but if the recent definitive edition was any indication, San Andreas is best left in the past. As for the disappointment, that dishonor goes to Star Wars Battlefront, the 2015 EA version. I loved the original PS2 game, so I was super hyped for the reboot. The year it released, my girlfriend and I attended Star Wars Celebration, and there was a huge booth for Battlefront in the middle of the show floor. It was a small theater, mocked up to look like a Rebel briefing room. We stood in line for 3 hours just to see what ended up being a glorified trailer. This game was the primary reason why I bought a PS4.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking.
I will say, Sean, San Andreas is still great. They ported the mobile phone version. That's why the definitive edition version sucks.
I didn't know that. Are you being serious?
Yeah, that is what they did.
Oh, I thought you were just like,
that's straight up what they did.
I thought you were being hyperbolic. They put the phone version.
They couldn't even be bothered to like go to the original source code.
Wow. That's just crazy. Alan Sheck actually followed up.
For the biggest, anyway, one of the biggest franchises in the world. You can't even bother doing the homework. Anyway, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It is.
Alan Sheck followed up with Sean's comment about GTA, and I thought this was kind of a funny comment. He says, does anyone remember the GTA 4 website they had that looked like a tourist website for Liberty City? They would release something new every week or so, and it was clear the city was going to truly feel alive. I rode that hype train all the way to the last stop.
Dude, I do remember that.
I miss clever marketing like that.
I do too.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I missed them. Now you just got to get the biggest YouTuber you can find to promote it for you.
Yeah. We're so old, man. So old.
We are.
All right, Zach, you're up.
Christina Flores writes in, The Last of Us Part 2 was my most anticipated sequel, and it was an incredible experience. I think my most anticipated game was Breath of the Wild, even though I didn't think I was going to be able to play it at launch, and I'm thankful I did. Christina, Breath of the Wild is a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she said my most anticipated sequel is Last of Us Part 2.
Oh,
Breath of the Wild is a sequel.
That's, yeah.
I know.
Zelda Universe is weird to call those games sequels. They're
You're right.
Universe adjacent.
Hey, Last of Us Part 2, though, better than the original.
What a
we
game.
can all agree on that.
What
Amazing
a game, man. Like,
Love it.
I think I plowed through that game like the week it came out, which the thought of doing that now.
Yeah. And that was a long game, too.
I was going to say, that's probably longer than Resident Evil,
Probably
right?
30 hours, I would imagine. Yeah, it's probably twice the length of Resident Evil 4, yeah.
Dude, just nuts how long that game was. Oh,
It was awesome. But you felt dragged and tired, just like Ellie and Abby did.
I really did.
Yeah.
You know, they kind of cheated and just told the same story twice for a bit of it, but I thought it was really cool the way that they did it.
That inaccurate appraisal, I think.
I know. All right, Alyssa.
Over on Discord, Mark Zamansky writes, a recent one was Back 4 Blood, and man, I was thoroughly let down. Left 4 Dead was my favorite game on 360, and Back 4 Blood was touted as essentially Part 3. I hadn't pre-ordered a game in over a decade, but this one, I was signed up. Shabby controls, a stupid card system that you couldn't shut off,
Word.
and frustrating gameplay where they were throwing special zombies at you nonstop. I was done with it after a week. Does anybody know if they updated it to make it better?
I've heard they have updated it, but I think the damage was done.
Well, I think they also just announced they're done supporting it. So,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's ever going to get a resurrection story.
That's become the thing, too, with these live service games.
Yeah.
Like, they just go away.
Yeah. Suicide Squad, pay attention.
Yeah.
Dude, this card system in a zombie shooter, huh?
Yeah. I hated that, too.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
That's a brain dead idea. Who was that for?
Brain dead.
Well, that was the cool thing about Left 4 Dead, right? It was just simple gameplay. Nobody had any advantage. There weren't like mega upgrades. It was just, let's just play the game and have fun together.
I mean, that, you're preaching to the choir. I think most games are over-designed in the modern era.
You know, and that's something that I forgot to mention. Did I mention it about Modern Warfare 2 in the games I've been catching up on?
No, you didn't
No.
talk about it at all. I thought you were trying to skip it for time.
No, was it written there?
Yeah, you have it written. You just didn't talk about it.
I just completely skipped it and I didn't even realize it. But yeah, I played through the Modern Warfare 2 campaign this week, which, holy cow, that game is exquisite.
I told you, man.
There's a segment that's probably about 2 hours that starts with the sniping mission
Yes.
and ends on the road. That is just some of the most insane, like how do they keep coming up with ideas that just work this well? I'm convinced that the guy that does the voice of Price has the coolest voice. I'll take the one on the left.
He's pretty darn cool, isn't he?
He's-
He makes you want to talk like this.
dude,
I love it.
you ever watch something or listen to something with an accent and then like you're in your thoughts, you're hearing thoughts in that accent for like the rest of the day?
Course.
Yeah, I was hearing Price all day long. Oh, the ending, the after credit stinger was like,
Oh yeah, dude. That's how you do a tag. That's how you do an after credit scene.
Yes, so good. Alyssa, if you can ever find a way to play that game, that is...
I need to.
That's glorious.
It's really good.
That game is also being passed off to the next person, by the way, that's going to be playing the campaign. So, but
I mean, you're right. You're right about the sniping as being the start of the best stretch of the game, though. You're right.
Oh, this was just so great. And so many reasons. Just even the banter between these two like hardened military guys. Just like I loved the things that they said back and forth.
The Soap and Price, I think, right?
Soap and Price, and yeah, Soap. Who's the newer kid? The younger kid?
Is it Gaz?
Gaz. Yeah. Gaz was in there too. But anyway, this is the reason I brought it up. I took a dive into the multiplayer of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Again, my buddy Joel decided he was going to try to Sherpa my way into Call of Duty. He's convinced that this is going to be the game for me. So I load up with my level 1 character and Joel and his level 270 and his buddy who's level 262 or whatever. And like, yeah, this is going to be fine, Scott. You're going to be fine. And that's yeah, you kind of knew how that went. I mean, we won the first match, but after that, I'm
sure they won the first match, yeah.
I mean, dude, I was doing the objectives. I was securing the sites, but I don't have the weapons, and I don't know how to use plastic explosives, and all these teammates are doing these. You can tell they've been playing it since 2003. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like I would have had a better experience probably if I had jumped in just on my own with some other level 1 people or something and met some people that were at my level, but no, he just threw me to the wolves. And I mean, I held my own. It wasn't like I didn't have any kills, but I spent a lot of time respawning. That's all I'll say. Yeah. But anyway, Rusty over on Discord actually responded to Mark's comment about Back 4 Blood. He said, "Copy and paste for me. I loved Left 4 Dead and was hyped for Back 4 Blood. And for the exact same reasons, I was also done after a week. But the most hype I remember ever being for a game announcement was Zelda Twilight Princess. Basically, it looked like a prettier Ocarina of Time, going back to that darker environment after the colorful, upbeat, and also great Zelda Wind Waker was a very welcome return to form. And unlike Back 4 Blood, it did not disappoint at all. I still try to run the HD remaster once a year only. Only reason I still keep my Wii U out." That's a good call. I remember when that game was announced, and we're like, finally, a realistic Zelda. Bring it.
I remember. I remember this Space World demo where it was like a realistic sword fight between Link and Ganon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's why everybody's upset about Wind Waker. Because we felt bait and switched.
A little bit.
But Zelda was awesome.
And Wind Waker wasn't a bad game.
No, it was great.
It was a great game, but it wasn't what we wanted because we were teased with.
I just remember all those snarky magazine previews that are like, it's Zelda is what you should call it.
Oh, yeah.
Zelda's a game for kids. Jacob Gunderson writes in, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is happening right now. I've been a huge fan of the series since Armored Core 2 and felt that 5 and Verdict Day ruined it by changing the feel of the gameplay too much. What has been happening in games lately scares me, and I'm concerned with the new approach that they are taking with this game. However, it's being developed by From Software and published by Bandai Namco, so with some names I trust and a wanting for nostalgia, I await this game as eagerly as I ever have. The first notion that the series was making a comeback sparked a flood of memories, both good and bad, but looking into and learning the details, I could no longer hold back the little schoolgirl excitement that this news brings. I might just have to break my rules and pre-order this if it hurts, so be it. Wow.
I've never played an Armored Core game.
I loved Armored Core 1 and 2. I remember those. I remember having to ask a bunch of toy stores for Armored Core 1 when I was a kid. But I didn't keep up with the series. I am concerned that the From Software of today is incapable of making an Armored Core game that fans want, but fingers crossed. I'm just worried they're going to turn into a Souls-like somehow.
Yeah, From Software. Like
that's all they make now, you know?
Yeah.
All right, Alyssa.
Kevin Honigford writes in, I really am not trying to be that guy that just obsesses over one thing, but Sonic Tuesday was the epitome of adrenalizing anticipation for me. Read in theatrical voice. Okay. On November 24th, 1992, the entire globe came together for the first time ever, except you, Sega of Japan, you suck, and unleashed upon the video game world a phenomenon the likes of which we shall never see again. Sonic the Hedgehog's second showing, and this time, he's got a friend. Okay, no more theatrical voice needed unless you wanna. Okay. I really don't think I'll ever be as excited for another game as I was for Sonic 2. That was just special.
Yeah, I mean, that hype was real. My biggest experience with that was reading about it in the Console Wars book. I wasn't a Sega guy as a kid, so I didn't get on that hype train when I was younger. But listening to it now, like, that was some real hype. They did a good job marketing that game.
Yeah, I was a year and a half, so I got no memories.
Yeah.
But Sonic 2 was awesome.
Last comment comes from... Actually, no, this isn't the last one. We have another one. But Brandon Lloyd says, Back for Blood had me hyped. It was a solid game, but man, Left 4 Dead maybe just can't be redone. That game was magical. Diablo 4 has me hyped, but after 1 or 2 runs, I usually get bored. Marvel Midnight Suns has me hyped coming from XCOM devs. My game of the generation was XCOM 2 easily. It wasn't XCOM for sure, but the game didn't let me down. It was my game of the year last year. I put 60 hours in, and I'm still not done, and 3 DLC came out too. I love it, and it sucks rotten butt that it flopped. It was a hard sell changing it from XCOM, and I think there is a Marvel fatigue, and it's a niche genre to begin with. Hopefully, they get back to XCOM 3, but the main guy just left, so that's a huge bummer. I have heard such mixed reviews about Midnight Suns. Like, some people are like, man, the stories and everything is just completely cringeworthy, but the gameplay is awesome. And
that's mostly what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
Is the story is absolute dumpster fire, but the gameplay is incredible.
Yeah,
I still can't get over the fact that Blade starts a book club because he
Yeah,
has a
so you
crush
can
on Captain Marvel.
So you can flirt with a girl. Ridiculous.
yeah, that's a little weird. We did have one other comment too on TikTok. Yes, we have a TikTok at the GoCast. Someone by the name of No One Special 131 just simply said Diablo 4, and I got to agree with you. Just the thought of, like, just making Friday night Diablo night and just making that a regular.
It's gonna be your life going forward.
That summer is gonna be all about Diablo 4. It's great. That's all the comments. Thank you so much, everybody that responded. Next week's topic is going to be the 1st of April, which means it is time for community questions. So get those questions ready. Be thinking about it. We'll post on social media, Facebook, Discord, Twitter, and TikTok, and ask you for questions that we can answer on the show. So please be sure to help us out. That's going to do it for this episode of The Gaming Outsider. Thank you so much for listening. I want to remind everybody that this episode was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website, again, is stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, do you have any parting words or recommendations for our audience?
No. The only thing I really have to ask anybody is, where's everyone going? Bingo?
All right, Alyssa, how about you?
Okay, so I watched this movie. It's from 1993, but I watched it because it has Michelle Yeoh in it, who just recently won the Oscar for Best Actress at the Oscars.
Oh, Crouching Tiger?
I've never watched that. I need to.
Yeah, you do.
But the Heroic Trio, oh my gosh, it was so bonkers, but I loved it. And it was exactly what I needed on that day. It's got Michelle Yeoh, Mackie Chung, and Anina Mui in it, and they're all like two of them are superheroes, and then Michelle Yeoh's character is kind of an anti-hero. They're all like involved somehow, and these babies just are disappearing, and an invisible person stealing them, and they're trying to figure out who's doing it. And then all these 3 women are connected somehow, and there's like a master of the underworld. It's, like I said, it's bonkers, but it's so bonkers that it's fun, and it's just the martial arts are incredible. Just seeing these 3 women all together is just amazing, and I need to watch the sequel because there is a sequel to this. I don't know what they're going to do in the sequel, but yeah, it was just so much ridiculous fun. There was one scene that's kind of upsetting involving, I'm just going to say, spoiler alert, the death of a baby.
Mm-hmm.
But the
rest
of
it
it's
swallowed
just
whole? Because I experienced that this week.
It does not. I almost think
Cowards.
probably being swallowed whole would be better than what happened in this movie. To it, but it's a lot of fun. The only place I know that is streaming is the Criterion channel. I don't know if it's available anywhere else, and the DVD is out of print, so you can't find that for less than $200.
That's insane to me that DVDs are going for $200. My brother loves this movie called Pool Hall Junkies, and he lost it in his divorce, and he went to try to find it. It was like $175 to get a DVD of that movie. Like, it was a good movie, but it wasn't like a great movie. It's just bizarre to me that there's a DVD market. But anyway, I want to let you guys both know, I actually listen to both of you guys when it comes to these recommendations at the end. And I got to thank you both. Number one, Alyssa, for recommending Shrinking on Apple TV.
Yeah.
What a delightful show that is. I just watched the finale last night. That is a great show. And I love how it ended.
The way it ended. Yes.
I can't wait for season 2. Harrison Ford is outstanding in this show, Zach. He is so good as the curmudgeonly shrink with a heart of gold. Like, it is.
He's wonderful.
He's so good. And then I think both of you recommended Poker Face, which I finally started watching and got halfway through the season in one sitting. Over break. So like I'm coming up on the finale. Unfortunately, the little preview of like next episode revealed who the father of the character from the first episode was. I'm like, man, I wish I hadn't seen that.
As a Fallout fan, you should be able to just tell from the voice on the phone.
I should have, but I didn't recognize from the voice on the phone. But that's a great show. I'm digging that. So I guess for my recommendation is not going to be an old one, but Ted Lasso started back up. Only 2 episodes in. Continues to be great. The direction that they're going with Trent Krim from The Independent is great. I'm so bummed this is the last season. I really do not want this thing to end.
Quality over quantity.
I agree. Quit while you're ahead. A lot of TV shows could learn from that.
Go out on top. Man, I gotta get Apple TV, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything on there yet that I haven't liked.
Yeah, I'm doing the thing I did with HBO when I first got HBO Max or whatever, where I was very selective about what I watched because there was not a miss on HBO for like the longest time for me, and I'm still there with Apple TV. Have you watched Severance, Zach?
I have. I was gonna say I have not, but
nor have I.
Both of you, please watch Severance. We'll talk. But anyway, Thank you, both of you, for joining me. It has been great talking with you. And thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Until next week, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Alyssa White, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.